Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2023 GSL Season 3.
It's been dark way too long in this place. That bright smile long gone been replaced.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another day here of the GSL. Actually, the second to last day. We are plowing through this tournament. After tonight, we are going to have our final four players. We'll be back in a week and close out the show. It's been an amazing GSL so far, and today we're going to find out if Protosses can survive.
Yeah, we have a pretty good chance of a Protoss making it to the round of 4 with both Creator and Classic facing off today, even in a PvP to start things out. But already the top 4 is shaping up in a way that I don't think anyone anticipated to start this season. I mean, the only thing that could get crazier is if somehow Dark gets knocked out first in this group today. I mean, Maru is out, Cure is out. There's been so much upheaval in the round of 16 and the round of 8, and it's been a lot of fun.
It's been a blast. Yeah, you know, Maru getting killed off in the very first day of the GSL is giving us a tournament that is going to, no matter what, be very different. Maru's won more GSLs than anybody. It's not even close. Continuing to dominate. But with him out of the picture, I would say, yeah, maybe Dark still potentially the big favorite to take this. But if he loses here today, it's going to be wild. Another thing to note, Creator, who's playing today, never has won a GSL, but he did manage to get to the finals. He was always the player who was getting nervous, making mistakes. He seems to have a really big, wide range of play. He's an excellent player, but he would almost get in his own head. And this looks like it could be a GSL that's going to be more doable for him as well.
Yeah, I've been meeting with Creator, you know, on stage before GSL round of 16. I met with him before the round of 8 today, and he seems very calm, very collected. He feels confident in his play. He said today he thinks it's going to be a hard group, but he has a chance to advance, and I'm right there with him. The way that he played PvZ in the round of 16 was frankly masterful, so even if he goes up against Dark, I think he can take it. And by the way, guys, if you want to support the GSL, you can contribute both on Africa TV through Star Balloons or through Patreon.com. I think $10 is the tier on Patreon.com that unlocks the replay packs, which in my opinion is the #1 thing you want to get out of that Patreon if you want to go for it. I mean, of course, supporting the GSL is in and of itself a noble thing to do, but if you're a selfish nerd like I am, you also want to get some replays.
Yeah, there are perks if you support us on the Patreon. Obviously, we're not in the same kind of position, publisher support, excuse me, that we had before. So it's appreciated, guys. As a reminder, the finals date is November 2nd, so it's a week from now. It's going to be in this studio. We have 3 major studios in Seoul. It's going to be here again. The ticket sales go up. Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, Friday 5 p.m. KST.
So basically 23 hours from now, you would be able to get tickets. I highly recommend you try to get them right when they go live. We don't always sell out for shows here for GSL, but the finals, I think literally always has.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be one of the people where you set the time aside, maybe even buy a plane ticket in a hotel and come out here, and then you can't get in. So be sure to get a ticket at that time. And I think you can buy them up to 2. So for you and 1 guest, and then if you're going to have more people do it, you got to get them to buy it. So
yeah, that makes sense. And normally for GSL, you can come in the day of before, like as the studio is opening and get the tickets at the door. But for the finals, you don't want to do that. Just play it safe, get the tickets early if you can. And by the end of today, we're going to find out who you will see at the finals. And
it's not just finals, semifinals, I should say, too. So it's going to be the round of 4 and then the finals right after that. So it's going to be a lot of great StarCraft. You don't want to miss it.
As a result, we're starting at 5 p.m. KST on that finals day as opposed to 6:30 p.m. KST, which is the usual start time. And it's going to be a really big day. We're going to have Gumiho face off against somebody. We're yet to find out who is going to emerge as the second place finisher from this group, and as well as Solar, who just played magnificently there on Tuesday. And for today's group, I really feel like any of these players can make it out. Dark is the favorite, but also in this GSL, I think that means that he's probably the least likely to advance. As soon as Maru was knocked out in round of 16, I was thinking to myself, well, this is now Cure's chance to take home a GSL, and then he got knocked out in the round of 8.
And then you jinxed him.
Yeah, it's the Trosis is gone, but the caster curse remains alive.
This is called the state curse. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well. But look, we're going to start this off with the PvP. Creator, I hope that we have at least 1 GSL where he wins it. I think that would be the coolest story ever. He's been here since the very beginning. This tournament's been going on for 12 years now. He has gotten to the finals once. He got to the semifinals, I think, once also before that, maybe twice. But this could be the tournament that he wins. He's going up against Classic. I think this is a pretty even match. Classic is obviously back from his compulsory military service and has been looking to be in pretty good shape. He was a little bit shaky right when he returned. That's more common than less common with pros when they've been inactive and they're doing their service. But I think he's got a shot, and I do think Classic's PvP in general is quite strong.
Yeah, his PvP is ferocious. I feel like he's very much an all-rounder Protoss, whereas Creator, I still kind of see him as a specialist in PvZ, but he's going to have to get through Classic as the big boss first if he wants to advance to that winner's match. Regardless of who wins here, we will have a Protoss at least one series away from the round of 4, which is very exciting. As the players are getting ready, Creator warming his hands for this match.
Yeah, let's see how he does. I'm always watching to see, especially if Creator loses, how's he looking? Is he getting tilted? Is he getting upset? Or is he going to keep his cool? He's one of the more explosive players we've got. Anyways, guys, Group B, round of 8, starting now here with a mirror matchup, Classic versus Creator.
Club NV Creator. Twisted Minds Classic.
Okay, gateways, the entrances here for both sides. Nobody expanding onto the low ground or building any infrastructure on the low ground here. But yeah, I mean, look, PvP, I feel like there are so many different ways to open up the matchup that work, and that makes for so many different interactions you could possibly have. It should be a fun series.
Yeah, PvP is generally one of the most creative and also almost dice rolling matchups that we have in StarCraft 2. Rarely do you want to talk about dice rolls when it comes to playing a game like this one, but PvP, as you said, there are so many different openings, so many explosive all-ins in very different styles that either player can opt for. It's hard to go for an expansion really globally. Oh, welcome down to the studio, fellas.
Good to have you guys down here.
And a lot of foreign audience here from
Copenhagen.
Wow, that is. He's
could have just put the flags. I could have just put the. My flag game's pretty on point too. With it.
Did her sign that she's dating a Gold League player?
I didn't see that.
That's so good.
So funny.
If you're a Gold League player at home, you can find love too.
Yeah. Or you can come to our studio and be outed.
But yeah, globally, really, I think only MaxPax that comes to mind as a player that's confident enough to expand the low ground in PvP with a 1-gate FE. He's really the only Protoss I see that does that reliably and consistently, is kind of still able to fend off everything. So both Creator and Classic going to be opening with 2 gateways on the high ground for Creator. It's a 2-stalker opening for Classic, opting for 2 oracles. And we'll see if they decide to opt for a fast tech, if they go for rapid expansions. I think with Classic, more likely to go for a Stargate with double Adept. And yeah, in fact, he is.
Yeah, it's usually pretty hard to figure out what the tech is until you know that the worker can be driven out. Now we've got Stargates on both sides. We do have a pylon block on both sides as well, so you can't get the Nexus up until that pylon's gone.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that a lot of players are curious about that don't play Protoss themselves when they see a pylon block like this one is, well, you know, aren't you just delaying the expansion at a time in the game where the expansion probably isn't going to go down anyway as you're building more gateway units or more tech? But what these pylons really allow you to do is also scout what units are being made out of those gateways, and that gives you more information in terms of what you're potentially dealing with. In Creator's case, he knows that his opponent opened with Adepts, and he has to be mindful of them potentially moving across the map, and he also knows that it's going to be a minute before they actually can move cross-map to join up for some kind of potential harassment on his side of Hecate. So both players now going for an Oracle. Classic's a bit faster than Creator's here. And Creator's expansion a little bit faster as well. We'll see if these 4 Adepts are able to get too much done. But I'm anticipating with the Oracle opening coming out from Creator, he shouldn't have much difficulty parrying this.
Yeah, he just pokes in. He gets the confirm there with the Scout. The Oracle's going to come across the map. Now, if they both realize they're going Oracle, is there a chance this will prompt them both to then go Phoenixes?
Oh, actually,
they miss each other.
And neither player aware. Is there a shield battery? Oh, there isn't a shield battery in the mineral line of Creator. This is pretty big. Those probes are going to start going down. Only one Stalker getting warped in. Classic should be able to pick up 3 or 4 at least here. And yeah, that's some nice damage. Back at home for Classic. He's already prepared for this Oracle. 2 Stalkers enough to fend it off.
Yeah, kind of a scary moment there. We did see a Phoenix start, by the way. Pylon Wall is not going to allow these Adepts to get in here with any ease. And yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense too. Just see what kind of damage you can get. Clean this up. Now he's going to come in with a dive once more. Now Phoenixes are being made here for Classic. I don't believe there's any being made here for Creator. He might be focused on more of a ground game. So we're not going to necessarily have that Phoenix arms race I was talking about earlier.
No, it seems both players are going to go for ground. There isn't a shield battery being built at Creator's ramp, so he's just going to rely on the Oracles to try and deal with these Adepts, but already losing more probes to the harassment. Classic right now with a 5-worker lead.
Yeah, getting these Adepts is pretty big too. I mean, they're not great units longer in the game, but you know, it's something, right? And getting those free kills like that are pretty nice.
Classic flying around, does spot.
What do you think about the one Phoenix? I guess it's just there to try to drive away the Oracles, but is that excessive or?
I think it's good. I think one Phoenix is just rock solid because those Oracles can be so troublesome to deal with. Because in theory, if both players play perfectly, if no Phoenix is made, the Oracle simply should not die.
Right.
And so later on in the game, when you're taking a 3rd expansion as Classic, then having to keep in the back of your mind these Oracles potentially flying in like this and just sniping 1 or 2 probes or even throwing down a stasis ward can be so troublesome. But having a Phoenix means that you don't actually need to deal with this in the long term. So I think it's a very smart play coming out from Classic, especially since Creator committed the resources to 2 Oracles instead of just 1. For 1 Oracle, it might be overkill, but for 2, I like the move. I think it's really smart, especially considering how far ahead he is with the early harassment.
Looks like the Blinks are synced up. Are the Nexuses going to be synced up as well? We've got the 3rd Nexus starting here for Creator. But I see a hidden pylon on the map here just at about 3 o'clock. So there's a chance we're going to see more gateways come down. And look, I mean, Classic might, if he makes those more gateways, have a real shot of pushing in and doing some actual damage here.
Yeah, he's actually going to throw down a 4th gateway. So this is absolutely going to be a high-pressure build. Think back to, I believe, Nightmare versus Hero from earlier on in this GSL, another PvP that we saw. Nightmare was able to get a lot of damage done with just 2 gateways warping in non-stop while he took a 3rd base. Classic is going all the way up to 4 gateways. So it's going to be a very heavily committed push on Creator, and considering this worker damage that he sustained in the early game, I'm concerned for his ability to hold on here after committing to a Forge, to a 3rd Nexus, even with additional gateways coming in. It's a dangerous moment in the game here.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a moment. We'll see how far he blinks in. Okay, that was really good.
That stasis ward is massive. These Stalkers that blinked in now can get picked off 1 at a time. Wow, what a great moment here for Creator. That really just kind of turns us on the head. Even blinking down into low ground now, the stasis ward for Classic is going to be able to catch a handful of Creator Stalkers on his own.
This really makes you appreciate how long that stasis ward is.
Oh, he's trying to double it down, and actually going to get 3 more, no, 4 more Stalkers in fact.
This is basically perfect here by Creator. Like, he's shutting this down so nicely. And again, there's a 3rd base that's now up. It's getting probes sent to it right now. So the fact that the player on 2 bases fails in the attack versus the guy that's got 3, I mean, Creator is eons ahead at this point in time.
Yeah, what an incredible moment for Creator. That stasis ward was beautifully placed in the main base. Those Stalkers eventually do get warped back home, but as you said, the 3rd base is so much later now for Classic that all the advantage he worked up in the early game is completely out the window. Now it is Creator's ball game. Not just does he have a worker lead on 3 bases and that faster 3rd Nexus, but he was able to kill a lot of Classic Stalkers. And let's not forget that he also has a Forge, researching +1 weapons as well. I think Classic, yeah, just now on the production tab, throwing down that Forge. So really every single advantage in the game is in Creator's favor, and he's going to start pressuring because of it.
Yeah, he's going to come down now. Now, Creator's got to be careful not to overextend. A nice blink away. And, I mean, I guess the game will go on. There's not an insurmountable lead here. That was basically Creator testing the waters to see what he could do. And that's a funny moment. He, like, blinks both over there so that one gets stunned no matter what. Now, the fact that Creator came all the way across the map here and is running away with his Stalkers, this is like a lot of Stalkers that have been killed off. There's more workers in the pocket for Creator, but the army sizes are almost the same. It's almost identical.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an overextension there. Classic, even on the chase, I think was a bit faster with a blink, so he was able to pick off 4, maybe even 5 Stalkers on the retreat. And so what I'm curious to see now from both players is really how much gas they're going to go up for, because generally speaking, if you watch a lot of Europeans play PvP, they tend to prefer mostly a mass blink Stalker style, but in Korea, 3 gas is generally the way that macro PvP is played in the mid game, and it comes with a swarm of zealots. Once you get up to 4 bases and the mid-roll income really starts to pile on.
And that seems to be right where we're at here for Creator.
Yeah, for both players, in fact. Even Classic going up into Templar for Archons is still just sitting on 3 gases, so he's going to be hard committing to nothing but Zealot Archon from here on out. And it's a very powerful composition to work with, and considering the damage that Creator sustained moving across the map, you know, from a few minutes ago, it really felt like it was his game to lose, but Classic actually does seem to have a fighting chance now. If he finds a timing window with charge, he could potentially get a lot done.
Yeah, we got that Templar Archives, by the way, finishing up here. So we're going to have some Archons mixed in here with the rest of this. It looks like we're going to go to a late game PvP. We don't get this very often in GSL. A lot of PvPs are ended pretty quickly, and I think in some metrics it's probably the shortest matchup. But from here, I think we're going to go into a pretty insane game, to be honest. We're seeing both players now get up to 4 bases. And it doesn't seem like either side has any incentive to try to come out and attack. But a Warp Prism just finished for Creator, so maybe that will be a telegraphed attack here.
Yeah, Classic is trying his best to chrono boost out +2 ground weapons to catch up with Creator, but I think regardless of how good Classic is with those chrono boosts, Creator should have a timing should he want to strike with +2 attack. And so we'll see if he decides to go that way. Actually, these 2 Oracles coming in. Remember that Phoenix earlier? I don't know what actually happened to it. This would be a great time for it to be used, because now Classic is having to pull Stalkers into the main base to deal with those Oracles. They got 6 worker kills, and this attack is about to mount at the 3rd.
Okay, a beautiful engagement over here, and you can see that Classic's army, it's a little bit late to the party. Can't quite get in. The angle may be a little bit better here for Classic as he moves in. Creator, I think, might have wanted to commit to this attack a little bit more with those Zealots, but he's going to go back over here to where the Warping Zone is. The Zealots do manage to chew through that defense. Can he actually get the Warp Prism? He does not.
No, it does not get the Warp Prism, but I think Creator might have enough of a snowball effect here that he's able to get some damage done. We'll see with the Warpins coming through. Creator actually floating a bit of minerals right now as he prioritizes the Blink Micro. So far, the trades going quite well for Creator. He has to be mindful of that stasis trap, though. If he broaches a little bit too far, okay, he blinks his Stalker forward. He's aware of it, blinks forward, gets an Oracle as well. And with these Zealots flooding in, I think he might be able to get game-ending damage in.
Yeah, I think we are actually at the end here. Creator was extremely patient with blinking back, buying time, getting those next Warpins, and this should be the breaking point here, because as this Nexus falls, yep, that's it. GG. Creator takes game number 1.
Really kind of an insane game. Classic getting a lot of damage done early, but that one Stasis Ward in the main base for Creator going unscouted by Classic got so much done. He picked off 7, maybe 8 Stalkers, completely hamstringed the attack from his rival Protoss player, and then from there he had faster upgrades. He had a faster 3rd base, a better economy. Even after overextending and losing a good number of Stalkers retreating cross-map, he had enough of an economic powerhouse behind him that he can just hit a crisp timing with +2 ground weapons. I think that entire attack on the triangle 3rd, he had an upgrade advantage. Classic still hadn't been able to, still wasn't able to research +2. So Creator playing a really great PvP, even from a deficit in the early game. I'm liking the way that he's shaping up. He is looking very good this GSL.
No, I really like the stasis in the main, and then the fact that he knows to fraction up the army again. As it's going to thaw out, he just gets it to freeze another half. And so he's basically just getting so ahead. And Classic almost looked like he had an opportunity to maybe try to come back, but in the end, Creator just mounted that lead and closed it out when he was maxed out. Beautiful game. We're now going to go into game number 2 here and see if Classic can even this out or if Creator takes us 2-0.
Sub NV Creator. Twisted Minds Classic.
Okay, well, let's see what kind of game we're going to get this time around. It's kind of a generic start for the last one. You know, nothing too remarkable that really even went on with the openings. They were both kind of defensive plays that just allowed each side of the map to kind of flourish and grow, and that's how you end up with a longer PvP macro game.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, Classic coming in that fast with the Oracle because it went for an Adept opening instead of a Stock opening. Watch GSL since day one, the Fruit Dealer days.
That's right.
That's
if you
legendary.
go back and look at those games, everybody's so bad, by the way. It's crazy, man. It's just Fruit Dealer doing like one base mainly does. Just like, and the other players are just making depots and other structures to try to curb him from getting in. But welcome. I'm glad you finally made it. It's never too late to get down to the studio.
I'm trying to remember what that map was called. The one where the players spawned at the four corners and there was that high ground expansion with like rocks that you had to break to get up in your main base. I can't recall, but
I'm actually not great with map names, to be totally honest. Once they're out of the map pool, I kind of forget.
Yeah, I just remember back in 2010 when I played on that map, I would play Terran. My favorite strategy was lifting up my SCVs in the command center and floating to the little, it's basically an island, right? Because it has those rocks. And then I would marine all in. I would go like 5 racks. I would kill the rocks. And I would pull my SCVs. It's just like the most dumpster build. It's the worst thing in the world, but back then it worked. It was a lot of fun.
But if you pull off a really bad build like that, there's some other, you know, you're entering some higher plane of RTS existence.
All right, so we already have a bit of a mix-up here in terms of builds, with Classic opting to go for a relatively fast Robo.
Is the Robo in the middle of the map?
Yeah, it's proxied on his side of the map. So this is a location that's relatively hard to scout. Creator, with his probe scout in the main base of Classic, should have been able to identify that Classic is one less pylon in the main than he should. But the issue is that Creator is going to be scouting in all of the wrong places, because generally you're expecting that pylon to be proxied in close proximity to your expansion, but instead Classic is just opting for what is going to be the least likely place for Creator to scout. So it's going to be a Robo all-in against a fast expansion here, and this game, I think, almost definitely will end within the next couple of minutes.
Yeah,
it's very close with that battery timing, by the way.
So it's going to come down to how quickly this attack can come in here from Classic, and if Creator could stop it or not. So this is a lot more in line with many of the PvPs we cast out here. Now, seeing 2 sentries make is not always a good sign, although good force fields can push the Immortal away. So the Warp Prism's coming out. Now, this is not right outside of Creator's base, and that makes it harder to find, but it does also mean the actual attack starts a little bit later as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute before this one reaches cross-map, as Classic actually opting to go for another Immortal. Oftentimes when we see Protoss players go for this all-in, they'll do it with more of a gateway follow-up, just one Immortal, Chrono Boosted out of that Robotics facility and a Warp Prism, but instead, Classic opting to play a little bit more Robo-heavy here, and now Creator has a good idea of what's coming. And Classic's going to try and drop in the main base. He does not have a sentry with us, so instead he's just going to try and find some damage here on these Stalkers. Guardian Shield is activated.
Okay, so he's going to go right up to the Warp Prism. Now, that was basically a failure as far as getting in. Like, he bought enough time, and you know, with his pylon, he can actually see that the attack's going to come in a little bit further. But, you know, the Stalkers are still alive.
I kind of like this play here for Classic. This is pretty smart, because he knows that he doesn't have enough in the front to do a full frontal assault that can end the game. So instead, he's just trying to trade the hardened shield on the Immortals and the shields on the Stalkers to actually get kills at a place of Creator's base where he did not, at least until now, have a shield battery set up. So it's pretty smart, and now actually he's full sending here into the main base.
So this is it. I mean, right now we have to see this work for Classic, or it's going to be a real problem. There is an Immortal on each side right now. He tries to dive on the Immortal in the back, and it's going to be able to shimmy away over to the battery to get a refill.
I think there actually isn't enough range to get an overcharge.
A second Immortal coming out right now.
Okay, Immortal does pop. The Immortal comes back from the low ground.
Oh!
Regenerated shields. One of the Immortals actually falling here for Creator. Classic's on very low HP. 15 probes have gone down. I think Classic might have done it. Those 15 probes.
Well, keep in mind, it's going to be pretty tough to micro this. A lot of very low HP units. I think you're probably right. Yeah. That's it, GG.
I mean, when you go down to 13 workers like that, you just can't remax. And Classic played a kind of a different flavor of an Immortal all-in than we usually see. Usually it is just a full frontal assault.
Yeah,
but
that's
that
what I was thinking too.
A bit more of a slow grind, and he attacked earlier into the main base, was able to shave off a good number of units because of it. And I think the shield battery there for Creator might have been just out of range to actually overcharge it from a Nexus.
Needed another one in his main or something.
Yeah, or a little bit closer to the main Nexus or the natural Nexus. It seemed like it was kind of in that dead zone where you cannot, in fact, overcharge it.
Well, I enjoyed that game. We're tied up 1-1, which means we have to go to the final game in this best of 3. But very different games here. Classic coming out with that timing attack. Creator once again going for conservative play, ready to try to react and defend instead of initiate, but it doesn't work.
I wonder what they're going to go for this time. Is Classic going to try it all in again? Is Creator going to mix up the build, or will he once again go for a 2-gate expand? It's time to find out. Winner of this match on Solaris is going to the winner's match here in Group B.
Club NV Creator. Twisted Minds Classic.
So we've got a probe out on the map.
What does Creator have up his sleeves here? I'm wondering. Oh, it's going to be a cannon rush. You're kidding me.
Oh, my God.
Oh, let's go.
One for the history books. So, why would you make attacking units when you could make buildings?
I can't remember the last time I've seen a cannon rush in the GSL. This is going to be so much fun. Second probe is coming out. Pylon getting built in the low ground here.
I don't think I've ever seen Creator do a cannon rush either.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
this is
saying?
cool.
It's like parting, yeah, sure, something like that. But now this is going to be more like your actual BattleNet experience and less of a GSL game. And this is the second probe. This is basically like a red herring.
Well, the second
You're like,
probe.
oh, look, it looks like it's a normal scout.
It does. It does look like it's a normal scout coming into the main base like this.
It's like, oh, let's check. I mean, because I'm also checking, I should see how many gases you got.
Yeah, it looks like it's a gateway scout, and he's building all of the cannons out of range of vision. These cannons are going to get up, and once those cannons are up... Wait, what? Classic's going for a proxy again in the middle of the map. He's building a pylon. He has no idea what's coming. He now sees the pylon in his main base. Oh, he's realizing this so late, and that cannon on the low ground, it does protect the pylon on the high ground. Okay, a gateway is going to get canceled. Classic is going to be focusing those minerals on chrono boosting out stalkers, maybe even a robo. But look, the cannon's already coming in. 3 of them, in fact.
I think that one's actually not covered.
Got 2 of them not fully covered here, but so many are getting thrown down that inevitably some of them will get up.
Now, keep in mind that the cybernetics core is adjacent to the cannon rush. So, like, if the core dies, you're just dead. Okay, if the Nexus dies, you're just dead.
Okay, one of the probes do go down here for Creator. This cannon, it will finish. In fact, it does get canceled. Oh, man, Classic is starting to lose a lot of probes, and he can start to shimmy in. And I think Creator has enough minerals that he can actually build so many cannons. Oh, wait, he's going to die for it. He gets it. Oh, this is crazy.
Is there another probe on the map moving? Yeah, he's sending one out.
Another probe is coming in. This cannon is going to complete. Classic is planning to recall his probes to the 6 o'clock position. And let's keep in mind, Classic, we haven't seen it on screen yet. He's actually proxying a Stargate in the middle of the map. So there is a chance that Classic, even though he's sustaining a lot of damage at home right now and he's going to have to sack his main base Nexus, can rally an Oracle or a Void Ray cross map and get big damage done. It's going to be a Void Ray. Oh, this is insane.
Okay, so the Nexus is only halfway done, so we don't have the recall right away. Oh, there is a cannon in the mineral patch. I almost didn't see it. So, how many minerals are in the bank right now for Classic? Does Classic even have the money to? Yeah, he doesn't. He has the money for just that.
Just one.
Not
Void
even
Ray.
one more probe right now.
So the
Cybernetics score goes down?
Yeah, the Cybernetics score here for Creator is about a quarter of the way done. He's going to have to start chrono boosting out Stalkers and ideally get a shield battery as soon as he possibly can. But my question is it going to be too late to actually defend against this Void Ray? Because there's no way this cannon is going to be able to block every single thing. This proxy Void Ray might be enough to stop Creator. Okay, the recall has come through. Classic actually opting to go for the cannons. That's going to allow Creator some time to chrono boost out a Stalker. And I'm not really sure about the math on this one.
Okay, so another pylon's being made in the back over here. The charge is done on the Void Ray. So it does unpower the Cybernetics core, although that plays almost no role right now.
Yeah, and the shields are gone on that Void Ray because it opted to go for the cannon. So it's actually gonna have to run away from the Stalker. And I think Creator back at home is stabilizing quite well. Classic with some nice micro is going to be able to kite the Zealot until it dies. And now he's saturating the 6 o'clock position on the map.
Well, the thing is, I think if he can even get a second gateway up here, I think he can just push with Stalkers, right?
Classic, you mean? Or Creator?
I think Creator can.
Yeah, because Classic, he's only just now building the Cybernetics core. He can really only make Stargate units.
And there's just going to be a point where, that's so smart. I don't know why that didn't occur to me. Yeah, he's building infrastructure there.
Yeah, he's going to 3 or 4 gate off of this, and that's a really smart play. He knows he killed the Cybernetics core. He knows that Warp Gate for a Classic and also a potential robotics facility is going to be so delayed. Classic can truly only make Void Rays in this moment in time. And Creator's doing the very smart thing of just cutting saturation on one base. God, what an insane scenario we found ourselves in.
I mean, this is such a crazy game. And you could really appreciate how quick these Void Rays can take out anything when they're powered up like that. So we have Warp Gate coming yet, so it's not like we can just have Stalkers in sets of 3 appear just yet.
Yeah, there is a 4th gateway underway here for Creator as well, so it's going to be a straight-up 4-gate. And despite losing that assimilator, it's worth noting he has a lot of gas in the bank. That is not going to be a bottleneck for him in terms of Stalker production. And after he gets a couple of rounds of Stalkers, I think he's going to be able to find a timing that is going to decide whether he wins the game or loses it, because Classic, he is building a robotics facility down here at the 6 o'clock position. If he gets an Immortal up with 2 Void Rays and has shield batteries back at home, this is a winnable position for Classic. My question is, will Creator be able to get enough damage done before that point with this 4-gate?
By the way, if Classic wins this, it's going to be the most rewarding feeling for him in the entire world. Whenever you survive cheese like this, it's like, oh my god.
Right, Creator shading in some adepts. Able to completely disrupt the mining here for Classic for the time being. And Creator actually going for a Stargate himself. I think he might have gotten the read that he cannot go for a killing move, or at least he wants a fallback plan here. I'm actually very surprised that he is going for a Stargate instead of full sending the 4-gate. But I guess with the shield batteries, with 2 Void Rays and an Immortal, it is really hard to actually break this position with just Stalkers now.
Okay, the Stalkers are going to come down. There is a Warp Prison being made, so it looks like Classic has plans on actually trying to push here as well. Okay, the Void Ray taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to go to unpower the Stargate.
The Classic has to respect the Stalker count here for Creator. This is insane.
This is a Stalker that's just a prisoner of the main base until he gets a recall up.
And now Creator is making Void Rays on his own. This is the most PvP that has ever PvP'd.
This is a Protoss's PvP right here.
So at least one viewer of the GSL is just like smoking a pipe at home, like, yes, this is the StarCraft that I've come to see.
Finally. The first new Nexus here for Creator has been made. So he's going to basically go to 12 o'clock, which is just not within the area of expansions you're going to be looking for.
Oh, and this is insane, too. Classic coming in. He knows that there's infrastructure here for Creator that is very vulnerable to a Warp Prism with Immortals.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to unpower 2 gateways of Creator's production. More Void Rays being chrono boosted out for Creator back at home. This is truly an insane game of PvP we've been treated to.
Yeah, and now, okay, so what we thought was a brilliant idea is actually turned out to be a point of weakness here. Because he needs to unpower that. Okay, there we go. Now half of the infrastructure is unpowered here for Creator. So, like, Yeah, he's getting his own Void Rays, great. And, you know, Classic, he doesn't have a powered-up Stargate right now. But 2 gates just can't produce.
The thing is, if Classic misreads the situation, which is very easy to do in a game as bizarre as this one, he might think he has the potential to go for a killing blow because he has a high immortal count, he has multiple Void Rays, he has sentries, he has a Warp Prism, and he's fighting against Creator on one base who was clearly going for a 4-gate. Classic might think he can just all in this, but Creator's had non-stop Void Ray production, and if he just holds the top of his ramp, Classic might overextend into a Creator that's actually expanding onto 2 bases, but these force fields are very clutch from Classic, able to snipe off a good number of Stalkers. I think there is still 1 force field here for Creator.
Looks like he almost went for the Warp Prism there.
It's a scary moment. If Classic gets up this ramp, it becomes a very dangerous
Yeah, well, you know, I think he could basically chop up the army around the Nexus now, however he sees fit. And, you know, the truth is, whether he goes full-on push or not, he can just hit the Nexus from a distance as well. He can generate threats. They're going to basically bait out Creator into attacking here.
Yeah, Creator not being able to hold the top of the ramp is just so painful because Classic standing army is, in fact, so strong, despite the Void Ray count here for Creator. I don't know exactly what he's going to do, and Classic kills the Nexus. Now he's going to retreat out. The army's finally engaged. Void Rays.
It's just too much, I think. I think Classic just takes the game.
Maybe, but the anti-air is starting to thin out. Okay, one of the last Void Rays do go down. Has Classic done this?
There's just too many mortals on the low ground here. They could push in.
Actually, it's Zeps. We did not catch this. 10 of Classic's probes are going down.
Oh, he killed those workers. Okay, so wait.
It's 14 probes to 13 probes. Creator is still mining from the top base. Classic might think right now that Creator is no Nexus, but once Creator is not revealed, he's going to know that there is, in fact, another expansion on the map, but still the standing army for Classic much more powerful than Creator's.
This is wild, man. What a game.
More Void Rays in production. I'm curious about what Creator's sentry count is because I feel like he's going to have to section off the Stalker count from Classic if he wants to win this game. And that means warping in Zealots and warping in sentries and just trying to fragment the army of his opponent. And Classic, with that Hallucination Scout, does know 12 o'clock is occupied. And while it was a smart move from Creator to go for this base that's going to be hard to scout, one of the downsides is it's very wide open, and that's a situation where Classic's army is going to thrive in. And there are no sentries whatsoever here for Creator.
So this is going to be do or die here for Creator, who's already limping through this game. I mean, the army is considerably bigger in supply, and frankly better here with the 3 Immortals in the back.
The Stalker's pushing forward. Creator with nice micro, able to save one of the Void Rays, but as the one of the front line falls, I think Classic's going to have just enough power to break through. And what an insane PvP.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, you know, that's what makes StarCraft great, is games like that. The fact that they both had lost their mains. Yeah. They were both outposted in these weird setups.
At the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock of all locations.
Key infrastructure all over the map. But I mean, I'll tell you what, that was not the game Classic thought he was going to be playing here tonight. We rarely have cannon rushes in GSL ever, but
I love that Creator had the confidence to bust that out in game 3, though. I think
it
bodes
almost worked. I mean, the reality is, maybe cannons are placed just slightly differently, where more of them are protected by the original default cannon, maybe a hex up. I think that game ends. Guys, short break. Coming up next, Dark vs. Bunny. We will be right back.
똑같은 하루에서 답답함을 빼면 더 청량해질 거야. 제로처럼. 우리 없어도 되는 건 빼고 살자. 칠성사이다 제로. 청량한 이 순간 칠성사이다로부터. 칠성사이다.
우주급 텐션 최고의 토캔 핫식스 토캔.
사람들은 말한다. 이번 영상 무조건 싸워야 돼. 집중해보자. 프로게이머는 피지컬이 전부라고. 빈틈없는 운영, 변수 창출을 위한 뱀픽, 상대팀에 대한 분석까지. 승부는 싸우기 전에 결정된다. 분석 완료.
사혁이 형. 매치
실패.
미친 몰입감과 다양한 경품까지.
아프리카 TV 승부 예측 서비스.
귀엽고 잘생겼어요.
아이돌 상이라서 뭐가 행복이 느껴지고
단순한 머리는 약할 것 같다.
똑 부러지는 모습을 본 적이 없어가지고 요리도 엄청 잘하고 동생이니까 뭐 부려먹기도 쉽고 다 시키고 저는 편안하게 좀 하고 싶습니다.
Today's matchup. Creator. Classic. Dark. Bunny. Round of 8. Group B.
Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2023 GSL Season 3.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're going to go to a ZVT now, change it up a little bit from the PvP vibes we had earlier. This is Dark versus Bunny. I think most would agree Dark right now the favorite for the tournament, just based off his past results and how strong he's looking right now.
Yeah, Dark is insanely good. I think he's probably, I don't want to say the smartest, because when I say that, I feel like I'm throwing shade at all the other Zerg players in the world, but he has such a unique and creative approach to the game. I've said this many times on stream, but for me, it feels like Dark and Hero are basically the same person. You watch Hero play Protoss, and it's just kind of crazy, and it doesn't make sense, and at times his mechanics, it doesn't seem like they're the best. His macro isn't exceptional, but he just has such a unique take and this killer instinct that it works. Dark is kind of that for Zerg. I don't think mechanically he's as good as a player like Cero or like Raynor, and sometimes his builds, they don't make the most sense. But he just has this killer instinct and this incredibly unique and creative approach to the Zerg race that it's really refreshing to watch. It's kind of a refreshing just take on the entire faction. Like, you'll see him play a late game ZVT, a situation that a lot of Zerg players will dread. And Dark's like, you know what? No, I can play as cost efficient as the Terran player. I can lean heavily into static defense, into spellcasters, and play the same game that Terran is. And a lot of other players in the world, they struggle to do that. So
now Bunny's had an amazing year. He's looked really, really strong. There is a world where Bunny wins this and takes Dark down. So let's keep our eyes out for that. I think Bunny's also modernized, changed up a lot of his play styles. Yeah. While still staying true to the kind of Bunny we've seen so many times before. And our game is actually now loading up, guys. This is going to be Dark versus Bunny, a best of 3 to see who will move on into the winners match. Face off against Classic here in Group B in the round of 8, the GSL. Let's get into this TVZ.
DKZ Gaming Dark. Mystery Gaming Bunny.
Oh boy, tasteless.
All right, the Bunsters put the barracks in the middle of the map. Now, is it 2 or 3 SCVs? We have the second one coming. I think it is just going to be a 2 racks.
Yeah, I believe so.
Although 3 racks has been a little bit more popular this season in GSL.
Also, it's funny to note the kind of metagame that these players are playing in the early game with the Overlord scouting patterns.
Yeah,
Bunny
yeah.
is putting this in the dead center of the map. If there was a drone scout, which, I mean, it doesn't really exist in this matchup, but hypothetically, if there was a drone scout, it would just immediately spot this. If Dark sent his Overlord straight across the map to Bunny's expansion, it would immediately spot this. But instead, Dark is trying to look in these kind of cheeky hiding locations by the third bases.
Off the beaten path.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, you know, had you just right-clicked the, your opponent's side of the map, you would have gone right over this. So this is pretty exciting. Dark is going to be blindsided by this rush. He may suspect it's out of the map. Oh, what?
And Dark is smart, actually. So he goes off the beaten path, and then now both Overlords coming in to the center to check. Oh, this is cool. He sees the SCVs, and he's not revealing to Bunny that he knows.
Now, by the way, he doesn't know if it's 2 racks or 3, but being ready for a 2 racks rush, this is suddenly much more doable. First bunker starts.
Bunker on the low ground immediately here. And a lot of drones getting pulled, so Dark, I think he's going to try and just go for the shutdown on this. He wants to delay that bunker as long as possible as 6 Lings are in production, and that's going to mean pulling these drones, trying to get a surround on the Marines. I think, in fact, he has it. Yeah, both Marines getting surrounded.
He's so good with his control.
Wow. That is an
He
exceptional
shuts that
start.
down. That was crazy.
And the Lings are perfectly timed to kill the bunker as well.
Bunny looks so sad now.
Yeah, that was perfect.
That could not have gone worse, honestly. Now the Lings can probably start to overpower here.
Hey, even if they trade out, you're trading them out with Marines in a situation like this one, which is just fantastic. I think actually he's going to get all 3.
Now that it's a weird spot for the Terran, right? Because now you're just trying to make enough Marines to defend your barracks that are there so you can try to concoct a defense back at home.
Yeah, one of the barracks is going to lift up and go back home, I think. I'm suspecting this barracks is going to just build one more Marine and then do the exact same thing. And back at home, we do have a factory in production. Dark, he did not continue mining gas, so I'm not anticipating a timing attack follow-up from the Zerg in this situation. I think that's smart, given how good the Cyclone is now, the new and improved Cyclone.
Right.
At shutting down early game aggression from Zerg. And instead, Dark just going to macro up, but
so,
really, what a beautiful hold.
Yeah, well, just incredible hold. And on paper right now, Dark is in a much better position than Bunny. I think this is playable for Bunny, but really Dark and Zergs of this caliber, this is like the worst possible situation you could be in, is they've defended your rush, they're ahead, and now you have to figure out how you're going to recover and get into a position where you can win against a player who basically never falls behind once they take the lead.
Yeah, Dark is really quite capable of navigating a game like this one to a win more times than not, even against a player of Bunny's caliber. But Bunny will try to throw a wrench into the machine of Dark. He's going for Cloak Banshees. I'm assuming also with Hellions he might reactor out a couple of Cyclones just for defensive purposes here to start things out. But it's going to be 3rd command center play. Really fast 3CC, so kind of doing everything he can to make up.
We've got 18
economically.
Lings.
Oh, we do have 18 Lings.
So
yeah,
he's going to try to go for a counterplay. Now, if you're making a Banshee, you can hold this, but, you know, the Banshee's not ideal versus Zerglings, even though the Lings can attack air. It just takes a long time to take out all the Lings.
Yeah, and it's going to be a couple of Hellions coming out here for Bunny, and because there is no wall here at the natural expansion,
oh my God!
Wow, that's close.
That was so close to just get inside the main.
And oh, he actually is going to let this in? I guess he wants to try and save as many of these SCVs as possible.
Well, can't blame him for that.
Yeah, and actually it ends up being the right call. Had Dart committed to more Lings, though, it could have been very scary.
Yeah. That was not like he's doing it all in. He's got plenty of drones here. But I'll tell you what, he didn't get a lot out of that.
He did get a full scout, though. He saw that it's going to be Cloak Banshees. He knows that it's 3 command center. He knows that it's Hellions being reactored out of that factory instead of Cyclones. And so I think for Dark, being in as advantageous a position as he was, even though, as you said, that wasn't a good trade for him on paper necessarily.
I guess getting the build order confirmed, where you're like, all right.
I think it's a smart play.
It's not a guessing game anymore.
No, and these spore crawlers are also placed quite well too. Even having this one right here between the natural expansion and the third, I like that a lot. Covering the main base and the natural as well. He will lose one of his queens.
A little surprising there.
Oh, actually no spore here at the third. I was convinced this would be done.
A little bit of miscontrol there with the Banshee. The spore is going to be done, but you know, there's these areas in between the spores that you can wedge the Banshee in and just basically be annoying.
It's actually really funny that Dark had the spore crawler position to be able to spot the Banshee at that location previously, and then he had to move it to try and catch it going into the natural expansion, and then it goes back into the third. And Bunny, despite getting scouted with a Cloak Banshee, is actually getting a fair bit of damage done. I think in total that was, what, 1 queen and maybe 3 or 4 drones?
By the way, 2 eBays are finishing back at home for Bunny, so he's going to have 1-1, but it's actually going to be Dark who's going to be slightly ahead on the upgrade lead.
Yeah, which is not a situation that Zerg often finds itself in, although it does feel like the meta is shifting a little bit. But hold that thought, is there's not really a lot to cover for these Hellions. Link's a little bit out of place, so 4 drones will go down. We'll see how many these Hellions are able to escape. Nice queen block, actually, there on the extractor, able to get the second Hellion, and these Lings should be able to chase down a third.
Yeah, he should be able to kill this one. I was going to say, I'm like, are they ever going to actually touch this Hellion? What's happening here?
The slowest Hellion chases of all time.
So I'm curious if there's going to be some position where Zerg could attack at the third base. Because it's a very upgrade-heavy Terran.
Oh, wow.
Good catch there.
Yeah, that's really smart. Kind of reminds me of Solar with his queen placement there earlier on in the round of 8. Was just so exceptional.
Stuff, yeah. So Bunny's going to move out, which I feel like, well, I feel like he should have been doing this later if he's going to actually commit. He might just be trying to kill off creep, but it doesn't seem like he has a lot, you know?
I think just being in the position that he is, you kind of have to take what you can get. And so if he's fighting off creep, there isn't too much to be afraid of against the Ling Baneling composition with the Marine count that he has. The worst case scenario, he can lift up some of these Marines and take them back home. But he does need some presence on the map here at this stage in the game. And actually, these Banelings coming into the third base. Oh, Bunny keenly aware of that. That was a fast reaction time.
Yeah.
And he's going to try and get some damage done here at the triangle third of Dark. Dark is going for the wraparound here, though. I don't know if he has enough links to actually make it happen. He will be able to section off the siege tank, actually getting a good Baneling connection there.
You know, it's just getting worse here for Bunny. Let's see if he can do something inside the main. Every game, there's going to be one swarm host that's made.
Yeah, actually, this drop is going quite well. Army supplies are quite favorable. Poor Bunny in this moment.
Do we know the one swarm host that he seems to make? This is never on purpose, right? This is never like like I'm trying to mock my player.
It's a good luck charm.
Yeah, it's like a little rabbit's foot or something like that.
Rabbit's foot on a necklace for him. Yeah, there's no way this is intentional. Dark's been needing to update his hockey setup for a while now.
Yeah, the fact that we always have one swarm host accidentally made in the game.
Oh, it's great though. I love it. It's one of those things where you can like cover up the players, and you see the swarm host like, oh, this is a dark game.
It's a dark game. Yeah. There it is. Now, what are you going to do with it?
So much fun. Now, Bunny is posturing outside of the triangle third for Dark. And I'm wondering if he's going to be able to get too much damage done as 2 Locusts are going to go into the third expansion. The Banshee's ready for it.
I know.
Oh, is he even going to get 1 SCV? I love this so much. Never change, Dark. There's a reason why you're my favorite Zerg player. All right, Bunny venturing a little bit far onto creep, so Dark is going to be able to section off a good number of those Marines. Good catch for him. Baneling is going to be, or Widowmine, excuse me, able to dispatch a couple of Banelings and Lings there as 2-2. Oh, 80% done here for Dark, but the triangle third a little exposed here. These Banelings, Bunny is not reacting.
What?
How many Marines just went down? That was like 3 medevacs of Marines.
You know, it's so funny. This really, you know, is a good reminder of how good everybody is. This can happen to anybody, but, you know, it's like...
It never does, though.
It never does because pro gamers are so good, but, like, that was maybe the biggest fail as far as control or just not control at all in this whole season of GSL. Oh, he's getting 2.
He might get 3.
This is the value Swarm Host. 4 kills. He's still out there.
It's almost as much damage done as Bunny got with his Banshees.
Yeah.
That's Swarm Host.
Maybe we should all be making one Swarm Host like this.
Maybe Dark is actually just smarter than everybody.
Yeah, he's like, why would I not do this? This is hard to deal with. It's one of those little fires you could start. If they don't deal with it over time, I mean, how much it could spread is kind of crazy.
You ever see these bell curve memes where you have like
the
600 elo player? Well, I guess in this case would not be making one Swarm Host, but you go up into the bell curve with everybody like Masters League and Diamond
I know
League.
the meme when there's like the guy in the middle of average intelligence who has like the bow tie and he's like, no, you can't play like this.
No, you can't just make one Swarm Host and send it across the map. This has to be a mistake. And then there's actually Dark at like 3,000, like 7,000 MMR that's like actually do just make one Swarm Host and you get 4 SCVs for it. It was outsmarting everybody here. And he's been able to play a pretty clean game. Honestly, being able to catch all of those Marines with the Banelings makes this a much easier mid-game to navigate. But let's not forget, Dark, he is now on Hive Tech. He's going up to 3-3. I think Adrenal Clans is probably done because I don't see on the production tab. And we even have our first Ultralisks coming out and drop Overlords also in production. So Dark is really playing the game that he wants to play from this position. And I think Bunny is going to have a very difficult time stopping the machine that is Dark. Ultralisk armor also about to complete.
Yeah, big drop coming in here. And when this drop hits, the Swarm Host's still there, by the way. With the Zerg being maxed out, the Zerg's probably going to try to descend upon the 3rd or 4th, or maybe both.
Oh, and there's a Nidus Canal getting set up, too.
Yeah, so he's actually going to have some crazy attempt to finish off the Terran here.
Yeah, this is going to pair up really well with the Overlord drop at the main base of Terran because the Ling should buy enough time for that Nidus to complete pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, and I mean, everything that Terran has is in the middle of the map right now. And he's sending everything back. Now, does the Nidus start in the main?
I think he does start it in the main, but...
Because I don't see it yet. Now he's burrowing this everywhere. Oh no!
My God. It's +3 weapons against denied too.
Well, okay, so he did start the Nidus Worm, but it's a little bit late. But the thing is, he might just not even be planning on putting anything in the Nidus and instead doing this counterattack up here. Speaking of which, the big attack at the top, not good enough. Bunny stabilizes and this game goes on.
Yeah, Bunny now on 4 bases, and the standing army that he has doesn't have a lot of ghosts mixed in with it just yet, but considering the fact that Dark is on 86 workers, I feel like Bunny's in a pretty good position in terms of survival here. If he can try and just really turtle up and play kind of a Maru-esque TVZ game from here on out, there is a chance that he could start to navigate this one back into a win, but I am scared for him. Dark is so good in these kind of situations at just navigating the late game into a position where Terran is really going to be tough. I don't think there are enough failings here to actually get this.
He can't get the planetary.
Maybe he will.
Wait.
And there's no SCVs to
we see that one Swarm Host, that one Locust come across the map and descend on the command center and kill it.
Oh, look at this! Banelings paired up with this Siege Tank. Friendly fire there against 25 SCVs. There's still Lings in the main base that were burrowed from earlier. Bunny is starting to fall apart.
I mean, this is crazy. I don't know how much longer Bunny can last here, but I mean, the number of things that are going on, like the Observer can literally almost not keep up with it. And even though Terran's maxed out, I'm just worried, okay, he's gonna get through here again.
Yeah, look at the army supplies right now. It's 140 for Bunny, but it feels like he has basically nothing because everywhere that Dark is attacking, like in the natural expansion, like in the main base with this Nidus, is where the Terran army is not.
Look at a burrowed Ultralisk. Looks like a Hamburglar or something. It's just like, it's like, don't notice me. There's a giant crater here.
I'm pretty sure they also buffed the Ultralisk burrow and unburrow speed in the most recent patch, so it's cool to see that get utilized in a A very niche way here. 50 SCVs have died. By the way, Bunny right now is on 25 workers and still is almost maxed. But the pressure coming in from Dark is so unrelenting. Oh my god. Bunny is just getting outplayed in a pretty incredible way here. And I know that the mid game and the early game did not go the way that he was hoping for.
Man, that was...
But that was so sick from Dark.
Dude, the way that he just... Like, everything started to go wrong for the Terra. The Lings run broing in the main. We had Banelings connecting onto workers. We had Lings spilling through the natural. And it's funny, yeah, the army, even though Bunny's maxed out, it's like, my God, where's his army in so many of these moments? And by the way, like, I think something like 45 SCVs were killed in those final moments. So
even more, I think it was like 55 plus.
I mean, yeah,
it was insane,
crazy. So I mean, Bunny, I'm not sure if he's going to use his break or not.
I think now would be a good time to use it. If
yeah,
you're in
I mean,
Bunny's shoes.
It's yeah, you know, it's going to be a tough one here for Bunny. We kind of expect Dark to win. The fact that Dark shut down the rush like he did was pretty incredible. I'm actually a little bit surprised we're seeing people still go with the 2 racks over the 3 racks, by the way.
Yeah, the 3 racks, I feel like, from the games I've seen, is just better, yeah.
Yeah, well, also it's like, are you really going to want to try to play from behind against Dark? I mean, if you're going to do that, wouldn't it just be better to, like, do something with a little bit more momentum?
Either win the game or lose it outright.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, seems like we are going to be going back into that game a bit faster than we expected. Bunny just taking a very brief moment to collect himself on stage.
Basically stood up, stretched his legs, and sat back down, and is going to go into game 2. Although I'll tell you, man, I just, especially after that last game that we just saw, I really have a hard time imagining Bunny winning here. Like, I'm so impressed with Dark.
Yeah, that was a lot of...
Even the 18 Lings that he made to run in to kill some SCVs, but also
smart.
scout. It's like, okay, I know what kind of game this is. Right, guys, we're going to go into game 2 now. Let's do it.
DKZ Gaming Dark. Mystery Gaming Bunny.
I feel like I see Bunny do that wrist shake more than anybody else.
He was doing a lot even before the...
It is actually one way to kind of stretch and loosen up your wrist.
I was going on Command Center first as well.
I think it's fine.
I think it's smart.
It makes sense. You rush in one game, go for CC first in the other.
Does give us a little bit of downtime, but going back into game number 1.
He is over 9,000.
Does certainly feel that way. Oh, I like this drawing there. Oh, we even got a hot 6 chart. Let's go.
Hot 6.
Let's go. I like that little the GSL trophy too right there he's holding up. Hey, could be his to win. He's playing out of his mind right now. I mean, Dark really knows how to play a winning position and just translate it into a win.
Yeah.
And not give up any steam. It kind of felt like...
It's very clinical how he plays.
And what was the name of the AI that was playing and eventually beating everybody? It was like AlphaGo or AlphaZero or something that was playing StarCraft.
Or StarCraft?
Right.
Yeah, why do I suddenly not know the name of that? That was like big news.
I'm putting you on the spot right here, but it was Alpha something.
AlphaGo was the one that won in Go.
Oh, so probably AlphaZero, I would think. But in any case, the point that I'm making is, yeah, they had to like limit the APM, otherwise it would just like micro-blink.
Oh yeah, well it would just be able to do everything. Yeah.
Be able to do everything. I feel like that is what AlphaZero, AlphaGo, whatever you want to call it, would do if it was playing Zerg, because the way that Dark was playing that mid game and that late game, he was burrowing Ultralisks, he was doing massive Ling drops, he would, after the drop, burrow Lings in different sections of the Zerg or the Terran base to set up for Nidus networks later on. He wouldn't unburrow all of them at the same time, he would unburrow half of them to start picking off SCVs and add-ons. Simultaneously, he's going in with a Swarm Host sending 2 Locusts into the 3rd base. He's doing attacks on the 4th base, the Planetary, with Ultras, with Lings, with Banelings to snipe that down. It was so multitasking intensive. And there was a moment of the game where Bunny, it felt like he had, I love this line of sight blocker micro that Dark is doing, by the way, to try and get as much damage done on this Reaper as possible. But it felt like there were so many fires that Dark was setting on Bunny's side of the map. Let's not forget that Bunny had, at one point, almost no SCVs. It was like 50 or 60 SCVs, and he was maxed.
Yeah.
So his army was massive. And he was only on 4 bases, and he wasn't really attacking. And he still couldn't keep up with the multi-prong attacks coming out from a Dark with 90 drones. It was just insane. Dark is so good at playing that kind of game that coming in here as Bunny, I'm not surprised that he went command center first into a really fast 3rd CC, because this is going to set him up for a mid game where I think in theory he should really have a large window with a big economy that he can potentially just close the game out instead of allowing Dark to play that late game that he is so good at playing.
Yeah, you know, Dark is honestly, it's almost unreal watching him play. He's been so solid, so strong. And Bunny, you know, he's improved so much. He's looked like such a good player, but it does just seem like when it comes to late game, Dark is like the master. Like, even using the drops and the Nidus Worms and the Burrow, a lot of times we'll only see like one of those. Like, okay, maybe you're doing Nidus, maybe you did a drop, but you know, he just kind of knows exactly where to put the Terran so that it's almost untenable, like you were saying. Now, by the way, this super fast early command center is going to be backed up with another pretty quick command center. So, and you see 2 eBays coming down. So the Terran push is going to be a little bit later. I know when we first started seeing a lot of double, like a super quick command center, it was almost always followed up with an all-in, but that seems to be a little bit passé. And instead, we're going to see, you know, a much more heavy macro game as this 3rd command center is about to land.
The question that I have is this going to be a macro game with Bunny trying to truly play the late game, or is this Bunny setting up to have the most powerful economy for a 3-base, effectively all-in style? Because those are really the 2 roads that you have to go on as the Terran player from here. As the Banshee comes into the 3rd base, Dark notably going for a Roach Warren before double Evolution Chamber this time, so playing a little bit differently from his opening in game number 1. And the big tell for me with Bunny is going to be how many more barracks he throws down behind these additional 2 barracks, because I think those are number 4 and number 5 that he's adding into the mix, which is just a standard macro setup that Terran is going to want to go up to on 3 bases pretty much no matter what. But I wouldn't be surprised, given the way that game 1 went, Bunny throwing down an additional factory and a couple more barracks to just really try and power up and go for a killing blow at some point here against Dark.
Well, the hatchery is taking some damage here. I don't think that he's going to be able to kill this off, but it is a little bit scary here. Bunny's going to have to be pushed away. Keep in mind, oh wait, hold on. Is he going to just try to target it down?
He's doing his best to get as much damage done
as possible. If you don't kill the hatchery, that's a lot of wasted cloak time. You could have gone for drones or something else of value. So as long as the hatchery's not killed, that's a huge win for the Zerg. And
sorry, excuse me. I had something to say and then I started choking on my own saliva. But no, to go back to that, it is a win for Zerg right now, but if Bunny actually decides to try and build up to a push on the 4th base.
That's going to be a squishy 4th base, you're right.
Yeah, it's a squishy hatchery, unless Dark decides to spend Transfuse energy. And I mean, how often have we seen Zergs be able to defend those pushes because they have a healthy number of queens to transfuse Roaches or Ravagers or even other queens when the push comes out? Kind of reminds me of watching Scarlet versus Maruhold with a high number of queens, even on this map, Alcyone. So it seems like that actually is going to be the focal point here for Bunny. He's pushing out with a healthy number of siege tanks. Even the Banshees joining the mix. We have a handful of
doing the Bunny. He's got the tanks in the medevac. That's the signature move.
He's going to go for the 4th hatch, but there's a lot of Roaches and Ravagers coming in from actually both ramps here. So this is a masterful arc for Dark. Bio's coming down, connecting with some of the Bio on the front line, and it feels like Bunny just doesn't have enough here.
Man, he takes the tanks out, and now the Terran army doesn't have any sustain.
And I feel like that fight even happened before 1-1 was fully completed there for Dark. He just took the opportunity to go in. He's pumping 15 drones. A round of 15 drones just popped for Dark, and he's starting the Hive, playing with so much confidence after stopping that push.
He's at 83 workers right now. So, like...
And we have the additional barracks for Bunny, too. There isn't another command center. The additional factory is coming in as well, so
he's committed to a 3-base push, but Dark is growing very comfortably. He's still on 4 bases. He's going to be probably up to 5 or 6 in a few minutes.
Yeah, I feel like that push from Bunny only works if it trades out more cost efficiently with this game plan, because now these additional barracks and factories are coming online, and you just lost so much momentum going for a push on the 4th. He needs to do plays like this dropship to actually snipe some critical infrastructure. Maybe it's going to be Queens. Maybe it's going to be the spawning pool here.
You know, this is actually pretty big. Okay, he's not going to get it. I was going to say, we almost never get to cast a game where Adrenal's shut down. But Adrenal is like one of the great endgame upgrades. So
yeah, and being able to delay that, I mean, should Bunny have been able to snipe it, this is a moment where Zerg kind of wants to pump a lot of Lings out because you're investing in a lot of high gas units and high gas upgrades like 2-2, eventually 3-3. You want to have some Vipers coming out. Dark even throwing down a Hydralisk then, so he would love to just continuously pump Lings here with Adrenal. Unfortunately for Bunny, he was not actually able to get the snipe and set that back, but I'm concerned for Bunny's position, to put it mildly here, after that push on the 4th base got thwarted in really such a convincing fashion that Dark was able to immediately click up the Hive and pump out 15 more drones.
Right. Okay, so, I mean, it's always a bad game for the Terran whenever you see that, like, it's almost like they're playing the game The Floor is Lava whenever they're in a fight. Like, they have to pick up and then try to go somewhere safe. It just shows how much domination the Zerg has on the ground.
Yeah, it's because there's no momentum.
Yeah.
You think back to watching Cure play a lot of his TBZ games, and it still kind of has a little bit of that The Floor is Lava-esque element, but he's able to at least trade cost efficiently for a couple of seconds before lifting up, and that allows you to whittle down the Zerg. But in this case, Bunny not able to find too much damage. He is able to catch a couple of units that are pathing around the map in kind of a funky way. Alcyone with the rocks here in the middle, it can be tricky to navigate with your units once you take all these expansions, so Dark is going to bleed out some of his army, and this is a really critical moment now, but those Vipers, very high energy.
Oh my God.
Lightning clouds on pretty much every single siege tank gets nullified.
Every tank, yeah. And with all these Banelings coming in here, it looks like he actually decides once the tanks are gone, just go back and remake. I think that was actually a pretty smart move.
That's very
not
good.
overcommit, because that's how you could throw the fight, is that even though the tanks are gone, there's enough sustain here with the Marines. So he's just going to make another wave of Banelings. Bunny's answer to that is to open up the destructible rocks and make more of a beeline for reinforcements to come in here.
More Ravagers morphing in. A lot of Lings in production. Dark is trying to bide his time, waiting for this moment, because there isn't a lot of factory units, and I'm actually surprised that Dark is just going to sacrifice this base. I think he just wants to play this as smart as he possibly can and not really take any risks, because at 76 workers, you can just saturate this base down here at the 6 o'clock position and take another expansion, and instead it's going to be a big counterattack.
Yeah, and I got to say, this is really Dark showing just how smart he is. He's going to be able to go through with those Lings, maybe get into the main. There's more Banes being made, and this totally takes the pressure off Zerg. The entire army's gone home. He's burrowed Lings here. There's more Banes coming up, and many of them are connecting.
Yeah, a lot of Marines going down, and 5 SCVs, mining completely disrupted.
Look at the minimap now. He's going to go ahead and hit 12 o'clock.
Wow. Man, Dark is just such a smart player. He couldn't do this move unless he sacrificed that base.
Yeah, this is like just some serious big brain stuff.
So we're watching Magnus Carlsen become a StarCraft 2 pro, basically, is what it feels like.
Just the way, because like I think almost every other Zerg out there tries to just recover the hatchery, but he's like, no, I'm not 100% sure about this, so let's actually really beat up the infrastructure back at home. Let's put it back on 3 bases. I'm still ahead. I'm expanding in 2 different directions at once, towards the upper left and towards the bottom right. Ling's here again for another attack.
Yeah, they unburrowed, and they're finding more SCV damage. And also, look at the supply right now for Bunny. He's at 168 of 165. So many depots went down during that attack. There's even more Lings getting unburrowed in the natural expansion. Dark is just playing on another level right now with ZVT. I don't know if he can be stopped. I mean, look at this attack. It's just so good for Zerg. He comes in, he kills a bunch of key units, and then just instantly pops out. I love what we're seeing from Dark.
Yeah, I mean, even just this. Okay, so there's been 11 more SCVs killed. Every time the Terran is trying to micromanage the fight up here, again, it's those small fires that get started back at home. If you don't put them out, you know, it's these burrowed Zerglings. Keep in mind, so much of StarCraft is priority. It's about knowing like where you need to focus your attention and then letting other things sort themselves out. And so when the Terran sees the fighting stopped back at home, it's actually the burrow, right? It's not that he killed it, but he doesn't know that. It's hard to keep up. And now we're going to see the flattening of the main push. My God. Wow. Dark is a master. He's just so good.
This is some of the best CVT I have ever seen Dark play. I mean, what an incredible game. What an incredible series from Dark. He's going to come in and get the full surround. Buddy is going to lift off. He's coming to terms with a loss here as Dark is just playing this so well. I got to say, Bunny, that hold better than I thought. Army supply is equalizing a little bit. It might have been a bit of an overextension there for Dark, but I still think he's in a very good spot in this game. Bunny's on the 3-base economy. The Bile's coming down, getting even more units. And I think once the Remax comes in and 3-3 finishes, we will finally see Zerg completely flatten the Terran.
I think so. And I got to point out, both the main and the natural are going to mine out at about the same time. They're almost there, which means we're going to have one working set of mineral patches on one base versus everything that Zerg has. Yeah. Which is crazy. And in fact, this game may just end right now. He might just be able to overwhelm him.
I mean, these are effectively, in truth, these are overextensions that Dark is doing, but his position is just so commanding right now. Even this base getting re-expanded. Dark is taking these, and anytime you see the Terran just scanning a bunch of bases across the map, he's like, how dead am I?
Yeah. Now that I've finally cleaned up everything in my main, what is going on the map? How much of this does he actually have? Oh boy, he's got a lot.
I feel like Bunny...
Okay, so he's going to flip the command center from the main.
There might be a chance for him, a 1% chance, if he's able to take the fight of his dreams.
There's a burrowed Ling here. He can't land this.
The creep spread for Dark after all these fights is kind of... It has been whittled down quite a bit, but just look at the standing army the Dark has. The army supply is 120, and a lot of that is in Ravagers, which aren't very supply efficient, but Banelings in fact are, and I'm curious to see what the unit tab is, because it feels like Dark has a very healthy number of Banelings, even going for a Lurker Den here. And yeah, 30 Banelings in total, even more getting morphed in. And we'll see if Bunny can defend this position.
This is probably curtains, man. You can see there's so many tanks, just the sheer number of Zerg units. Terran now sub 100 supply. Nothing to protect the tanks. We should have GG any second now. There it is. Dark 2-0's Bunny. And I think we can all walk away from that series saying Dark is clearly the better player.
Yeah, that was an incredible series. And, you know, in game number 1, yes, Bunny went for a 2-racks. It got scattered by Dark. He had the perfect response. He got a surround on the Marines, and so he was able to clean that up and then ride the momentum to a victory. But in game number 2, it looked very similar to game number 1, even without that starting advantage. He would just squash the first big push from Bunny on 3 bases and did not give up that advantage at all. There was some overextensions from Dark, but I think that's just because of how confident he was in his position, where he can really just do anything.
You could see Bunny on the camera shot earlier kind of in this dark state of reflection. Like, he's just better. I don't know what to do. We're going to have the winner's match coming up next, guys. ZVP just around the corner. We'll be right back.
Anytime, any place. Anytime, any place. Anybody, it don't matter. Anywhere, any day. Anytime, any place. Anytime, any place. Where you at? Anybody, it don't matter. Any day. Anytime, any place. Yeah, you know. Anybody, right here. Any day.
Getting weaker and weaker, falling deeper and deeper. I know it's right. We're not hiding our feelings when we're in it, we're in it. I know it's right. Taste on my lips, do you wanna sit? Getting high. Feel fingertips, never losing grip. Now we cry. Getting weaker and weaker, falling deeper and deeper. I know it's right. We're not hiding our feelings when we're in it. I know it's right. Tell me if you do or die in another paradise. Our bodies doing time. Tell me if you wanna bite. Getting weaker and weaker, falling deeper and deeper. I know it's right. We're not hiding our feelings when we're in it. I know it's right. Taste on my lips, do you wanna sit? Getting high. 우주급 텐션, 최고의 토킹, 핫식스 토킹.
똑같은 하루에서 답답함을 빼면 더 청량해질 거야. 제로처럼. 우리 없어도 되는 건 빼고 살자. 칠성 사이다 제로. 청량한 이 순간 칠성 사이다로부터. 칠성 사이다.
우주급 텐션, 최고의 토킹, 핫식스 토킹.
나를 부르는 수많은 단어들.
페이커?
불사대마 데빌력.
하지만 나를 가장 기쁘게 하는 건
상혁이야.
팬들과 소통할 때 나는 살아있음을 느낀다.
혹시 나랑 1대1 가능? 피지컬은 나쁘지 않는데 운영이 좀 아쉽네.
선수들과 직접 소통할 수 있는 개인 방송과 구독자 Q&A까지. 아프리카 TV 팀페이지.
귀엽고 잘생겼어요.
아이돌 상이라서 뭐가 행복이 느껴지고
단순한 이제 머리는 약할 것 같다.
똑 부러지는 모습을 본 적이 없어가지고 뭐 요리도 엄청 잘하고 동생이니까 뭐 부려먹기도 쉽고 다 시키고 저는 편안하게 좀 하고 있습니다.
Today's matchup. Creator. Classic. Dark. Bunny. Round of 8. Group B.
Africa TV Freak Up Studio Live 2023 GSL Season 3.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for Dark versus Classic. Now, I mean, I want this to be close, but Dark looked so good that I'm having a hard time imagining, you know, a world where Classic could win this. But let's hold out hope. We got to get a Protoss through, State.
I can make the case for Classic here, Tasteless, because Classic coming into GSL, and even just historically throughout his entire career, has been one of the best Protoss players in the world in terms of preparing for a specific opponent.
Yeah, that's true.
And if he planned for Dark, there is so much replay footage of Dark circling around the web right now because he competes in pretty much every single online cup. He's a grinder. And I feel like every single time I see him playing in KSL, for example, it feels like he is meeting Hero in the finals. And as it is right now, it seems like only Hero for the race of Protoss can take down Dark, but if Classic studied enough of those games and saw the way that Hero's been able to do it, we might have an upset here. But at the same time, just as you said, Dark playing ZVT there against Bunny was some of the best ZVT I have ever seen him play in total. So his form is incredible. Let's see who's going to win. Map number 1 here of the winner's match, Classic versus Dark.
DKZ Gaming Dark. Twisted Minds Classic.
Okay, let's get into this. Now, you know, the reality is like, you know, PVZ, it's gone through a lot of different changes. We were just talking actually before the show today that, you know, State, you were saying there's like a style where the Protoss just never attacks.
Oh, that's the way that I play PvZ.
Yeah. You just literally just keep trying to grow.
Oh, that's simple.
This is a man with a simple
and to the point.
message. He's getting to the point. There's no time wasted. Here from Mexico, another excellent simple
Welcome.
message. Whoa! And it was intercepted by another sign from, I think it was Romania?
I think it was Romania.
Damn, sign game's on point.
Watch, it's like Rome, and we're just completely wrong.
It's too late now.
But yeah. There is a style of PvZ that can be played, which I would be very surprised if we saw it. But when I was learning to play PvZ again, I went to Scarlet and sort of for coaching.
Right.
To two of my best pro gamer friends out here in Korea, and they both gave me the same advice, which was to kind of play a PvZ style. We were just trying to take half the map and then camp with cannons and batteries and Tempest and just play kind of the same way that Neeb would play a late game PvZ. I don't think Classic is going to bring that out here in this series, but yeah, I am that scumbag Protoss that will do that time and time again in PvZ, man. I used to play a lot of Age of Empires, so like, I'm used to my games not ending in like 90 minutes.
If you want to get an RTS game that's really grindy, man, Age of Empires is especially. What's more? Is 2 more grindy than 4? I'm not an expert with Age.
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but 4 is definitely very grindy. Like I'll play a late game. I'll play a late game PvZ that mines out the entire map, and I'm like, oh, it's a pretty short game, only 35 minutes.
Yeah. It's like, wow, you had a 25-minute game. Did somebody cheese? Like,
yeah, it's unironically very true.
So we've got the Stargate opening. Pretty mainline play, excuse me. So we got to give this game a little bit more time to see, okay, are there any kind of crazy builds coming out here for Classic, or is he just going to get maybe a second gate up and then expand?
Yeah, I would be surprised if he didn't go for a fast third base with this build. We have generally 2 different ways of playing Stargate right now, at least in Korea. We have the creator style, which worked to perfection in Group A of the round of 16, where he would go for an Oracle and then a Void Ray and then an Oracle and play a really late game focused style, where he would just try to get a little bit of damage done with the Oracles, but really anchor down his defense with a Void. And I wonder if Classic is going to do something like that, or something more akin to what Hero is usually known for, which is getting a number of Oracles out, or is it going to be a Fleet Beacon, potentially Tempest Rush?
What?
Hero actually beat Dark in a tournament game recently. I believe it was a finals where he went to Stargate Tempest Rush against a Dark All-In. And it was one of the most chaotic PvZs I've ever seen, but I think that might be what we have coming up here for Classic. And Dark right now is sitting on 29 drones. He's building a Roach Horn. He is droning up a little bit more, but I'm wondering how aggressive Dark is really going to get with this, because if we truly do go for a Tempest here, and it is going to be Tempest.
All right, let's go.
Oh, this could be crazy if Dark full sends it. Oh my God, I love this build.
Stargate. But let's see how many Lings and Roaches are made here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes you get the Roach Horn, and it's like, well, if he attacks me, I'll make Roaches, but otherwise I'm going to be focusing on drones, because, you know, the Tempest does not attack fast, which basically means it's terrible against like Mastling Roach.
He's pulling them. I feel like I'm watching an Cannon game right now. If you get 5 Tempest, you can start one-shotting Queens. And if Zerg does not scout the Tempest coming out, yeah, this is exactly the build I think that Hero used against Dark. And I remember we were talking about the preparation that Classic might be doing coming into this one. There's a lot of footage of Dark playing PvZ games against Hero. Hero, it feels like right now, he's the only Protoss player in the world who can really hold a candle to Dark CVP. And Classic shows that he has done his homework. And so my question is, how many Tempests are we going to wait for? Is it really just going to be 5? Because if this goes unscouted and Classic moves across the map with 5 Tempests and he starts one-shotting Queens, and he gets the, I don't know what the upgrade is called, the bonus damage versus buildings upgrade for the Tempest, and starts sniping down the 3rd hatchery there and potentially the 4th hatch for Dark, this could be huge.
So, even though he doesn't see it yet, the lack of anything here might give this away, too.
Yeah, but
and he drives it back.
This could be anything, though,
sure,
Chaseless.
You're right. It could be 6 gateways, and it's not, right?
Oh, I love this so much. Oh, this is so much fun. I love that Classic is just going off the rails with a build here in game number 1.
He's about to have 6 Tempests. Aspire starts.
Yeah, in theory, this should be the best possible response to this, is to get a good number of
he
corruptors.
knows. Now, as you can see, the Tempest is not a fast unit, so this
No.
does give a couple of seconds on the clock here for, for Dark to try to figure out how to handle this.
Yeah, behind it, we have a Twilight Cancel coming in. So this isn't completely all in for Classic. And he only has 4 Tempests right now here in the front, so he cannot yet one-shot Queens. And the question is, how much damage can he find before this swarm of Corruptors come out and try and get something done? He should be able to get this hatchery, but there is also a Roach counterattack coming through. There is a shield battery in place to deal with it, and a lot of Stalkers getting warped in. So on the home front, looking very safe. And actually, Dark, with a drop Overlord, is dodging shots from the Tempest, picking up Queens. This is so smart, actually.
Yeah, that didn't even occur to me, yeah.
I've never seen this response, because in theory, you should just be able to one-shot like this.
He's
but
like
if
picking up-
Dark, he's trying to micro it. It's very difficult to do this micro with a slow Overlord of all things.
Yeah. They got to just barely get in range. If he can figure out where the projectiles are going.
Yeah, look at that. He dodges one. Oh, but no! Oh, no, it goes the other way! 3 Queens get sniped in the Overlord. Oh, this is so cool. That hatchery is completely dead. 3 more Queens in production. I don't even think we have any Queens on the map. And it's actually only 5 Corruptors in production. Classic might just be able to win with this.
I think he can get this hatchery before the Corruptors even become a factor.
Oh my god, Tasteless.
Oh my god.
The Natural's going to die. The Queen does not produce. This is insane.
He takes out the Spire!
He goes down! I'm getting nerd chills. Okay, so Classic, he's playing it safe. He doesn't know how many Corruptors are coming across the map. Unfortunately, he didn't recall all the Tempest. I think if he knew how many Corruptors were coming through, he would have played a little bit more aggressively here.
I mean,
but let's already consider that the Natural went down, the third base went down. That was 10 Queens that died. And Classic behind this, he's made so many Stalkers. Blink is almost done. I feel like he is going to be able to push across the map and just do a game-ending blow.
Yeah,
and what
I think this is
an
gonna
insane build.
1-2 punch finisher where I think the killing blow is going to be the Stalkers coming in. That was incredible. When we saw the Overlord get sniped with the 3 Queens in it.
Wow. I've been like nerd
it's
chills
crazy.
watching
There are
this game.
circumstances we still haven't seen yet in StarCraft where it's like, oh, all right.
We were talking about the
and it makes sense.
preparation.
The projectile from the Tempest is so slow. In theory, you could scoop up the Queen that's being targeted and drop it back down, and then the projectile's done no damage.
And the Stalker counts right now are overwhelming. This is a pretty favorable engagement for Dark, actually. But there's just so much Protoss, it does not matter. And wow,
Game
Classic did his homework. That is so cool, man. He came to play today.
That
And
was
Classic,
really cool.
He is now 1 map away from the round of 4. Oh, man, I can't get over how amazing that game was.
But I don't know that you can recreate that game again.
No,
I mean, this
it's
is
like,
why we do best of 3s, best of 5s, best of 7s. Is you got to have more than just that. And you could see Dark basically blindsided. Actually had an answer for the tech, but the control is clearly not something you get to practice a whole lot, right?
I mean, dropship micro with a slow Overlord is probably the hardest thing to do in the entire game.
Yeah.
It's like Queen's this incredibly big boxy unit with an Overlord that moves it the slowest possible speed. But Classic 100% did his homework on Dark, and now he just has to win 1 more map. That's all it takes.
I mean, I'm just ready to get into game 2, and it looks like we're going to be going into that right now. Solaris is our map. Let's see if Dark can even this up 1-1, or if Classic closes it out with a 2-0.
DKZ Gaming Dark. Twisted Minds Classic.
Man, I'm just in a great mood after that last game, you know?
Oh, I love Protoss.
I know.
I
It was
love
just such a
cheese.
great. We've had a cannon rush today and a 2-base Tempest.
It's like we have a charcuterie
Rush.
board of all these different Protoss cheeses
That's
on stage here at the GSL.
So, yeah, what can he do this time around?
Oh, actually, take a look at this here for Dark. Oh, this is so funny. Dark is expecting, because by this timing, Classic should have anticipated that another hatchery is going down, and Dark actually just waits for that probe to move all the way across.
Yeah, that's pretty sneaky.
Yeah, I can't remember who the... Wait, he's going to go for a proxy hatch? He is.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're getting juicy with these games.
Yeah, this is very cool. So he's going to make that right next to the position that the Protoss is trying to expand into. Now, this is going to be... Well, what does the Protoss want to do in this position specifically, State? I mean, are you that afraid, or is this more annoying and less of a rush, or what?
I think it's less of a rush and more of an annoying thing that can mess up your build. And there's actually mixed opinions on how to deal with this. I lost so many games against Proxy Hatch that I actually had to beg Scarlet to try and help me solve this thing.
Yeah.
And her answer to me was to not pull any probes to deal with this at all. She told me, in fact, and I quote, "Probes are for mining minerals, State. They're not for killing hatcheries." And what she said to do was to go for 2 gateways. You could have boosted out 2 zealots and 2 adepts, and after you kill the hatchery, you should be able to move across the map and prevent the Zerg from getting a 3rd base, at least for a time. But Classic with a little bit of a different take. Of course, it's in kind of an edge case like this one, there truly are different ways of dealing with it. And Classic with, what was that, 3 or 4 probes pulled across from the main base into the natural expansion with a Zealot, were able to kill that hatchery very quickly. So not too many resources committed. His Nexus, excuse me, almost said a Netchery. I don't know why when I cast GSL, I always start just fusing like...
Yeah, you start to...
the names of the players.
Archon merged words from different races together.
It's because I've been playing the Legacy of the Void campaign, man. I want to like become a hybrid, basically, and like fuse the Zerg and the Protoss together.
Get the Xel'Naga language going.
Yeah, but I'm liking this position for Classic. Despite the hatchery coming down, I think this is still a relatively even game. Classic is going for a Twilight Council back at home, and there are a couple of different options that he has. We could see him go for potentially some Blink aggression, but I think it's more likely we'll see something like Dark Templar into an Archon drop, or potentially just Shade Glaives. We'll see what it's going to be. And yeah, it's going to be Glaive Adepts. Normally I wouldn't be too much of a fan of this, but I think in theory, because Dark went for the Proxy Hatchery, there's a reason we don't see that too often, right? And
Yeah,
it's because it does set the macro back for the Zerg a little bit. So there could be an opportunity here for Classic to actually just snowball this and gain an advantage, considering the early game for Dark is not quite as clean as it once was. But this Overlord coming into the main base of Classic, there's no Stalker. It's going to get the full scout off.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually really bad for Classic when this happens. And I'm going to, I'm just going to say it, the Adept Warp Prism build, this is basically the hamburger with no cheese opening of PvZ. Like, it's basic, it's been tried and tested. It is usually held. It's held off by the Zerg more often than it is winning games.
Yeah, but it's one of those builds that you almost always have to mix into.
Right,
a best of X series, so there is a reason we see Protoss players continuously go for this thing, and the fact that it got scouted here for Classic means that the ceiling of damage that it can do is certainly lower than before, but there is a little bit of a mind game now, because Dark might be thinking that Classic doesn't commit super hard into this because it got scouted. It might just be instead light pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas
too.
it feels like Classic is just full leaning into the 4-gate Adept. In fact, we only have 1 more probe in production. There is no 3rd Nexus underway. Adepts are warping in, but there are 10 roaches, 11 roaches, in fact, Tasteless.
Yeah, could be more roaches and Adepts in a second here.
This is a moment.
Commit. Yeah,
it's a moment where we can get some damage done. Dark very quick with the drone pull into the main base.
Warp Prism's going to come up now. This time the Shade is going to be down over here towards the 3rd.
Finding some good damage. Classic actually able to take a worker lead briefly here, and I love the Warp Prism actually kind of forcing Dark to commit some resources in the main base. And actually, Dark is mismicroing this a little.
Yeah, his roaches are getting isolated.
Even a 4-Adept Warp in there in the main base. He's lost a lot of roaches to these
Okay,
Adepts.
hold on a second. Is he going to actually get this? Now, this is a bad click over here.
Oh, wow!
What?
Dark is actually getting pulled apart a little. I thought with the roach count that he was going to have that he should be able to handle this, but I guess with no links to accompany it and slow roaches, Classic has been able to finesse a fair bit of damage, more than I anticipated. Behind it, he's been getting a third Nexus during all this time.
Yeah, he's got Immortals out here. And, he didn't really lose that many of the Adepts. So...
yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
6 workers, 3 roaches, 13 lings for 5 adepts. Resource cost-wise, it is quite beneficial. And so my question now is, how much is Classic going to lean back into building up his economy, or is this third base almost a feign leading into some kind of immortal adept all-in?
I think he's going to make a couple more probes. I mean, we can basically tell by how many more probes are going to be produced, right? We're at 42, which is not a lot. Not that the Zerg isn't a lot of workers either. It's a pretty tight game economically. Style points there.
Yeah, style points. I think he was trying to... did he actually get a drone with that? It's
Not
tricky.
sure.
It's tricky to do those control moves, but in theory, you should be able to shade those 4 adepts, pick off 1 drone, and then get him into Warp Prism before the roaches actually come through, which I guess he did it twice in a row. And actually, no, he's here in the natural. Oh, Dark is really dropping the ball on the defense, man.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy.
If I'm Classic, I'm about to just pull the trigger and go for it all in.
Yeah,
with all of the damage that he is getting done.
Well, getting 7 drone kills is huge.
Oh, there are so many adepts actually on the map. I don't think Dark is anticipating this. We have 3 Immortals and 24 adepts. Is Classic about to go into the round of 4?
I think he is, man.
This is crazy.
I think this could be a killing blow, especially with the 3 Immortals here.
Behind it, there is
the Guardian Shield that's going to be activated. Just a number of adepts.
Yeah, I mean, behind this, there is a little bit of a fallback plan here for Classic. He is getting a Forge, but he is certainly seeing the opportunity here. Is he going to shade? No. In fact, he's going to wait until he comes up here into...
yeah, he's basically forcing the Zerg to respect the fact that the Adepts could shade in.
Yeah. Oh, got to keep that Warp Prism alive. It's very low on HP.
Oh,
the Queens, they're beelining for
he's
it.
gonna get it.
Okay, the Warp Prism does go down, so reinforcements are going to be few and far between, but the standing army here for Classic is still very strong. Adepts are slowly getting warped out. And are you going to shade into the main base? No.
Yeah.
Instead, he's going to try and find more damage here in the natural expansion. The Warp Prism is being reproduced.
Keep in mind, the hatchery's so low, the Evo chamber's so low.
Yeah.
Drones now pulled. More Adepts coming in.
Yeah, drones are falling. Classic actually has a worker lead right now, despite being so committed into this attack. The Immortals, I feel like they're kind of at the breaking point. One of them does fall.
Oh
Dark is going to start trading really well here. My question is, how much damage actually got done? If the Warp Prism did not fall, I think this game would be completely over.
No, I think we'd already be, closing out and going to the commercial break, to be honest.
Oh, man.
Again, 2 hatcheries so low.
Yeah.
Now, the Zerg is still down by 10 workers. So it's important to remember that. This is a timing attack, but it's a very different one. A lot of times, if a timing attack doesn't work, the other player's behind. In this case, the timing attack doesn't work, but the player that did the attack is still ahead.
And the issue is that Classic, for a moment, they were only at 4 adepts back at home, so this counterattack might be really hard for him to hold. I mean, look at the standing army right now for Dark. Oh, man. I don't know if Classic's going to be able to hold this third base.
Yeah, this is actually a lot. And, without having the Immortals to fight the Roaches and Ravagers and Stalkers are just basically useless. Here comes 1 Immortal now, but it might be too late.
Oh, the Bile's really good there from Dark as well.
Yeah.
Shield battery was delayed until this moment, so the healing, not very much. It will eventually get Bile down. Probe's even getting pulled. And Dark is just full committing on this. He's not making any more drones back at home. Biles are dodged by the Immortal, but I don't think there's enough sustain here for the Protoss army.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to be game.
Yeah,
the Immortal,
Classic.
1 Immortal and a War Prism can only do so much when you have this many more Roaches and Zerglings coming down and basically shredding this position up.
I think it all goes back to that War Prism getting sniped. If Classic was able to reinforce on the front line, I think he really would have been able to go for that killing blow.
Yeah, here we go. Now he can just ignore the Immortal and hit other locations as well. Unbelievable. All right, guys, we're going to be going to Game 3 in a second here.
I mean, my heart rate is through the roof right now. This has been an insane series.
It's been a lot of fun to cast this. This third Nexus is going to fall. There are still Zerglings. I guess just these 2 Roaches, actually. No more Zerglings left. In the main, 36 probes have been killed. This puts the Protoss at 25 workers. And I don't see any reason why the Zerg has to stop what they're doing. They're about to take out the Cybernetics Core, which means no more Stalkers. Good luck fighting this with Zealots.
That Classic is dead here. To not split any airs.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be able to push this back for a time, but really Dark can just dive on this position, and Warp Prism Micro can only do so much.
Yeah. Another warp in here. Looks like there's more reinforcements down at the bottom outside the third, but he forgot to queue him up or put him in a control group with the rest of that.
Yeah, Classic is
Zerglings.
coping a little bit here. 27 probes to 54 drones. Dark, once he remaxes a little bit on this.
It's not going to kick him out of the game until all his buildings are dead. But
he's like,
there it is, GG, okay. Yeah, I was going to say.
It's like, well, technically, I'm not out of the game until all my buildings die tasteless.
There's still a chance, as long as one structure's left.
Yeah, but Classic was so close to closing that one out. The Adept attack got so much damage done that...
You know what happened is Dark had only one queen clicked on the Warp Prism, and a lot of players click all the queens on the Warp Prism. So I think, you know, in the fray, Classic doesn't identify, oh, you're gonna wipe out my Warp Prism over a longer period of time, and so he should have pulled that further back or targeted that queen down or something.
And even after that moment, I think it was still a salvageable situation there for Classic. Imagine as Dark is retreating up that ramp from the natural into the main base, if Classic just identifies a situation and recalls the Immortals back home and then reinforces, I think he can hold the counter push, and then from there it's a winning position. But in the moment, it's very hard to make those reads. So instead, we're going to be going into a map number 3. The winner of this match will be heading into the round of 4. The loser will be knocked down into the final match here of Group B, the round of 8. It's all going to be settled between Dark and Classic on Alcyone.
DKZ Gaming Dark. Twisted Minds Classic.
I gotta say, man, this series so far has really delivered.
It's been an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, it's been some really good games.
I'm gonna get my blood pressure checked after this.
I know, we gotta go to a doctor's appointment after this. He's like, wait a minute, you aren't casting lots of good PVZs, are you?
Did you cast a cannon rush where both players lost their main bases?
Well, we checked your heart, and it looks like you casted a game where there was double Tempest Rush. NYC to Seoul, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, one good city to another, man.
That's right.
In New York City, one of my favorite places to
I
visit
love
in the
New York.
entire world.
Yeah, the Seoul pizza by the slice, not as good.
No, a little bit lackluster. Although I have to say, the pizza has upped its game over the
Korea's
past
upped
couple
its
of
pizza
years.
game. The burger game, we're on point. We're killing it in the burger game now.
Are we? I'm out of the burger game here in Korea,
No,
man. I lost faith a long time ago, so I have not been given
People are
going to
look at the two of us, Cass, like, yeah, well, Tasis is definitely still in the burger game.
Yeah, it makes sense the state is out of it.
That's why we balance this out, is you've got great StarCraft knowledge, and I've been eating lots of burgers. So, no, when I first moved to Korea, you couldn't get a good burger, and now there's like just tons of great places.
I remember going to Itaewon, looking for a big, a good burger, and spending like $15 US, which is a lot of money in any place, but it's an extra a lot of money in Korea for a burger.
Yeah.
And being like, I would rather be a Burger King in America right now, frankly. Yeah, everything does get better out here.
So, we've got the cybernetic score about to finish, and then we will see what the tech is going to be here from the Protoss.
Yeah, and I've been loving the preparation that Classic has brought to the table.
Well, you can see why Classic was, like, for a period of time, the best Protoss player. Is it's like he knows how to prep. He knows who he's up against. Maybe in 100 games with these two, Dark wins most of them. But if it's just 3 or 5 or 7, Classic can figure out a way.
Yeah, generally for Protoss, it's kind of difficult to play those long-form games if your opponent has a lot of time to prep for you, because you need to kind of be able to swing your styles a lot to keep the opponent guessing.
Right.
And I feel like Classic has done a fairly good job of that in these first 2 games. The opening build in game number 1 with a Tempest Rush of all things to close it out was just such a thriller. And then game number 2, going back to a Classic Adept opening, was a lot of fun. And now look, it's a Phoenix opening. We rarely see this
Yeah.
in PvZ nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't cast this in a while.
Oh, did Dark actually scout the Stargate? I think he might have with that Overlord.
Well, either way, the Phoenix is actually rallied on top of the Overlord, so he's going to know, no matter what, unless that rally point changes.
Oh, what a nice move. Classic, in terms of his adept control, especially this game, has been so good. Think back at how many 4-gate adept claves openings we've seen over the years in GSL, or it just completely falls apart for the Protoss player. But on Solaris against Dark, he was able to get a lot of damage done, and then even here on Alcyone, picking off drones where, frankly, he has no right to.
Yeah.
Just able to finesse some damage in. Classic is looking to be in the best shape I have seen for him in so long. But even if he cannot defeat Dark, which is a Herculean task in this matchup, just because of how good Dark is in CVP right in this moment, I'm feeling pretty good about his odds against both Creator and Bunny.
Yeah, I agree.
He is really impressing.
I like that basically Classic's identified he needs to circumvent late game in all these builds. He needs to create some kind of an opportunity early on as things are developing and try to drag the game to GG at that moment. And he did it once, and then he almost did it the second time, and it backfired. Now this game, things are developing pretty normally. I mean, you basically have a Phoenix that's sweeping the map to kill Overlords, and then we have Oracles being made.
Yeah, with the Twilight and Forge transition, so this is looking about as standard as PvZ is going to get, and actually this is some good damage. Oh, a little bit of miscontrol there from Classic. I think with Dark being out of position, he should have been able to get at least 6 drone kills. Oh, that's tough. He's going to be kicking himself for that one, because so much of PvZ, if you are going to play a macro game like this one is shaping up to be, despite the fact that we have 4 more gateways in production with Blink, I'm imagining it's likely going to be 6-gate Blink Stalker pressure and just some more expansions here for Classic. But anytime you want to play that kind of macro style, so much of it hinges on the early game harassment, whether it be with Adepts or with Oracles. And so any drone kill that you can get as the Protoss makes the mid game so much easier. So yeah, double gas now coming in for Classic here at the 3rd base. And actually Dark, oh, he's going for Overlords. This might be a Queen push.
Oh, hold on a second.
He's only on 54 drones.
Yeah, I think so. He's going to try to swing this right while the Protoss is at the the key moment of development. When they patched the game very early on, one of the things they realized is they need to make Queen slow off creep. Otherwise, there's too many timing attacks you can do. But then you get moments like this where you just upgrade drop and you just pile on them at a moment like this. And I don't think that the Phoenix has found this yet.
Classic should know. He saw no Queens at home. He sees Ravagers, but he's only just now realizing. So the photon cannons, the shield batteries, they don't have a lot of time to warp in. He's going to try and zone these units out, forcing the Queens to drop over there at this junction of the map. Actually buys Classic a lot of time. The Oracles are going to be sent to try and reinforce the Ravagers, get as much damage done as they possibly can. And it's all going to come down to the defense here. There's
Both
no
the
shield
Oracles go down.
Yeah. There's no shield battery here in the natural expansion either. It's going to be a tough hold here for Classic. Blink only about 3/4 of the way done.
I mean, he's going to continue to press forward. It doesn't look like there's a lot of room to micro back here, but the batteries are paying off. The cannons are finishing.
Yeah, but the natural expansion, if Dark can identify that there isn't a lot of static defense there, he can get some damage done. He can unpower that one Robo there in the front line and potentially slow the disruptors from coming out. And it seems like he's just going to park his army here between the natural and the 3rd. Queens are dropping. Stalker's Blink is done, so they're going to blink back into the 3rd base. Relatively favorable trades here for Classic, but that Robo, it's unpowered.
Yeah, and the Robo, you really need that if you're going to kind of deal with this onslaught of units. The other Robo does get a disruptor out. Can we get a good disruptor shot coming in over here?
Oh, it should be a good one. Tasteless, he gets only one Ravager.
Oh, no, but the disruptor goes down. He didn't pull it away.
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming in on Classic. He's trying to blink his Stalkers back above these vials, but a lot of them are hitting. This is still so close.
Yeah, there's a lot of really damaged Ravagers.
Okay, there is one more disruptor alive as Zealot is trying its best to keep it alive. Second shot coming in, just going to connect with one queen. He knows he can't get too greedy with it. And Classic, he might be able to hold. There's actually 2 queens.
Yeah, he drops queens over here to kill off the workers to try to curb the income in another effort to try to stop the Protoss from getting enough, minerals to produce Stalkers in this case.
Stalkers are starting to trade reasonably well here, and you can really start to feel the burn of not having queens back at home injecting for Dark as the larva. There isn't enough of it for Dark to fully reinforce. In fact, right now, he's floating almost 2K resources. If he had the larva to do non-stop roachling production, I think he might have just been able to end the game, but instead, he's throwing down an infestation pit, he's getting roach speed, he's rebuilding his queens, he's taking a 4th base. Classic has survived, and although he's sustained a lot of damage, and there's also creep in his natural expansion, which is really funny to see. I kind of like this position for Classic. He was going 2 Forge behind all of this, by the way.
No, I think the pendulum is about to swing the other direction here, because now he's going to be able to push out. We're starting to see the economy kick back in here for Dark, but I think a counter push could be a real threat. And again, there's no 4th base done yet. We have a double expand happening. One at the triangle expansion, the other in the far upper left reaches of the map.
We also have to keep in mind that Dark right now is kind of locked in on this Roach Ravager composition. He's just now getting his melee upgrades for those Zerglings. He's building a Baneling's Nest now as well. But the more resources that he has to commit to Roaches and Ravagers here to survive the mid game against a Protoss that is on 2 Robo Disruptor, the better this is going to get for Classic. Should Classic be able to hit a timing before Vipers are out to come through with those abducts. So the scouting for Classic is going to be really important. If he can identify exactly when that hive is done, he might be able to reach basically an anti-timing against Dark, where Dark is investing all of these resources in something that is not going to pay off, and the Disruptors can just wipe the floor with the Roaches and Ravagers. But not having any Stargate units out, as you call it, those 2 Oracles went down very early in that fight, means that the scouting, it's a little bit limited here for Classic.
We still got Classic roaming. He hasn't committed down anywhere. Good catch on just getting the Banelings. And, we've got 5 Disruptors in this mix with the 4th base finishing up. So I would imagine pretty soon here we're going to have a push. I like the Banelings morphing here. We're going to have a Baneling drop at the natural. 2 more Colossus. Notice he's pocketing the Colossi. He hasn't shown that in the group yet. So he's going to have a lot of moments where he can break up positions that Zerg are trying to hold with the Disruptors. But he's also going to have the ability to basically melt any low-tier units in engagements when he gets up to 4 Colossi.
Dark actually going for an Overlord drop with Banelings here at the natural expansion. 3 Vipers in production. Those Vipers are the most critical unit here for Dark to hold off the push that's about to move across the map. Classic. He's got a recall to try to defend this 4th base.
It's a good move. Okay, hold on.
Oh, he does. That is critical. If Classic at this moment in the game were to lose 16 probes, a full mineral line, it could be devastating for him. Instead, he's going to be able to kill this. Only a handful of probes should go down.
Yeah, he gets 8, not bad. Here comes another one.
Not a lot of probes.
Classic watching.
Oh, he is. Man, Classic is everywhere right now with his vision.
He's super on top of everything.
But what this is doing for Dark right now is it's buying a lot of time for those Vipers to gather energy.
That's right.
And Viper Abduct is the only answer Dark has in this stage of the game to the Robo army that Classic is assembling. He's going to have 4 Colossi, 5 Disruptors, and 3 high-energy Vipers. With the army that Classic has on the ground, it still might not be enough. 4 Colossus and 5 Disruptors.
It's a lot of technical units.
Yeah, you can't abduct absolutely everything. You abduct all the Disruptors and just leave the Colossus standing, then suddenly your Lings aren't going to be able to trade very well. If you kind of mix getting in the Colossi and the Disruptors, then suddenly a couple Disruptor shots on your Roaches and Ravagers can completely turn the game on its head. And I think the answer has to be Hive Lurkers, but that's a long time away from now. And if Classic hits this max timing, which I think he is going to do, it's going to be a tough hold for Dark. He knows it. He's going for a base trade.
Yeah.
There's no recall, by the way.
Yeah. So this is, what you see is what you get. Now he is going to be able to take this out in the space over here. Now, here's some important things to keep in mind. there are more locations for the Zerg, which means it's going to be more work for the Protoss to try to wipe everything out.
Classic is
he
coming
actually
home.
kills, he kills that base and then comes back. So this is very cool to see.
Ooh.
But I'm worried that like there's going to be so much damage back at the Protoss' base.
Yeah, Classic has effectively no economy now. He has to win with this army, and I'm not sure coming back is the right decision.
It's the same story as we saw in the game vs. Bunny, where he has Lings burrowed everywhere. You know, so the Protoss has to be very thorough in the cleanup, which just buys the Zerg more time. You would always drop one base to cause this kind of infrastructure damage. It's 13 workers left over for the Protoss, whereas we had, for a second ago, we had 63. It looks like he spent some money to make some more buildings.
Yeah, and remember how we were talking about how Dark needs Hive Lurker tech to stand with this Protoss army on the ground, and he needs to buy time? He just bought a lot of time.
Yeah,
Seismic
he's got
Spines,
4 Lurkers, 5 Lurkers coming now.
Yep, Seismic Spine's about a third of the way complete, and maybe he won't be able to defend every single expansion, but Dark should eventually be able to stop this push in its tracks. For Classic right now, he is basically all in. What you see is what you get with this Protoss army. First Duck comes in on a couple of Disruptors, actually able to survive and gets a big hit. The Disruptors, only one of them go down. Classic, he has to win with this army.
Yeah, I mean, what exactly can Classic do? You can see that Dark is just buying time. And by the way, another really nice small counterattack. There's so much area on the map that Classic is going to have to try to break down.
And look at the expansions right now on the map for Dark. He's expanding in 3 separate locations, and he's going for the full base trade. And I think that he knows, he's identified the situation. If he buys enough time right here, all these blinding clouds are massive. Classic blinks forward onto the Lurkers, and he gets a lot of them, but there's going to be no buildings back at home for Classic. He's going to be eliminated.
He just, no matter how you cut it, I don't see a pylon hidden on the map. I don't see anything like that.
No.
He's going to recall.
But this is just buying time. There's no way for him to win from this position anymore. Dark has too many bases. And Classic, although he played a great game, it's going to be Dark going in
He's
to the
so
round
good.
of 4.
He's so good.
What a series we just had between these two players.
He's just at a higher level in the game. Like, just seeing the Lings burrowing everywhere, and it's like, yeah, this is really annoying. This is really hard to deal with. And just doing enough counterattacks that there's just not a lot that can be done.
On paper, I think, with the armies and that stage in the game, unless Classic gets out positioned like that, he wins game 3.
Right.
I am quite sure he wins game 3, but Dark is just such a mastermind in terms of counterattacks and unit positioning. He knows exactly what to do in every moment, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
Congratulations. Thank you. Once again, you made it to the semifinals. How do you feel? Today, before I came to the studio, I just had a lot of unlucky moments on my way to the studio. So I thought maybe I was jinxed today. But despite that, my games went very well. I'm glad I made it to the semifinals. There were so many critical moments in your games today where it looks like you could have ended up losing the winner's match. Tell us about that. So when I lost against Classic in game 1, I thought, okay, this is going to be a huge problem for me getting out of this group. But after that matchup, after that first game that I lost, I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll have to start thinking about how to get out of the group as the second player to survive. But anyways, I do think there was some luck involved on my side for surviving today. Seemed like in the game with the timing attack, if you didn't kill the War Prism, you might have actually lost, and Classic would have swept you in that game. Yeah, it seems like Classic made a small micro mistake, and I was able to take advantage of that. But because of that mistake, I was able to win, and here I am in that interview. So you showed tremendous gameplay as a Zerg, especially against the Terran player Bunny. You looked invincible. Are you confident in that matchup? When I have overseas tournaments, I've been beaten very hard by Clem. So that was a good remedy to force me to really improve in that matchup.
손이 가더라고요.
군단숙주도 손
군단숙주.
아까 하나 정말 일부러 찍었어요 실수에.
솔직히 좋아하죠 군단숙주. 아니 찍었다는 생각은 안 했는데 그 군단숙주 태어나는 소리만.
Oh, they're asking about the one swarm host. Is that a mistake or is that intentional?
한 번씩 들리는 것 같아요. 빨리 고쳐야 되지 않나.
I don't know why this keeps happening, but somehow, like the way I'm inputting my stuff in the keyboard, yeah, I keep accidentally making a swarm host. I can't really say it's like a strategy or it works well or anything.
요새 민수가 좀 기세가 미쳤다 보니까.
Solar just made it to the semifinals. It's his first semifinals in 10 years for GSL.
민수만 이기면.
And he's going to be your next opponent. What are your predictions going up against him? So lately, Solar's been in very good shape. But if I defeat him in the semifinals, I think I've got a really big chance to take the whole tournament. There are many fans in the studio. Any words to them? I see many fans down here. I'm very happy. I want to say, did you guys enjoy my games today? And I will show a great performance in the semifinals and finals. I hope you guys come and watch me as well. All right, well, no surprises there. Dark does go into the finals, but I mean, he's just so good.
Yeah,
it's
his
so
CBT
impressive.
especially was unbelievable today. But what a tremendous set of games we had him play against Classic. That was one of the best PvZ series I've seen in a long time.
I don't know if Solar's better at CVZ. I think some players would say he is, but I do think Dark in Korea takes the cake for like ZVP, ZVT.
Yeah.
He just wins in a way that is so brutal, so crushing. It makes it look so impossible to ever recover. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, the losers match as we continue on the round of 8 here in the GSL. See you soon.
Change my evil ways, my evil ways, my evil ways, my evil ways. Hide skeletons in my closet. There's monsters underneath my bed, and these voices in my head, I can't stop them. They're calling out for me. Welcome to my dark side. It feels good to be the bad guy. You know I like to play a cold and dangerous game. My soul just can't be saved. I can't change my evil ways. My evil ways. My evil ways. My evil ways. I got the devil on my shoulder. He's dancing here along with me, and I will be your own worst nightmare. You wanna sleep? I'll be there in your dreams. In your dreams. Welcome to my dark side. It feels good to be the bad guy. You know I like to play a cold and dangerous game. My soul just can't be saved. I can't change my evil ways. My evil ways. My evil ways. Welcome to my dark side.
똑같은 하루에서 답답함을 빼면 더 청량해질 거야. 제로처럼. 우리 없어도 되는 건 빼고 살자. 칠성 사이다 제로. 청량한 이 순간 칠성 사이다로부터. 칠성 사이다.
우주급 텐션 최고의 토킹 핫식스 토킹.
사람들은 말한다. 이번 영상 무조건 싸워야 돼. 집중해보자. 프로게이머는 피지컬이 전부라고. 빈틈없는 운영, 변수 창출을 위한 뱀픽, 상대팀에 대한 분석까지. 승부는 싸우기 전에 결정된다. 분석 완료.
사혁이 형. 배치.
실패.
미친 몰입감과 다양한 경품까지.
아프리카 TV 승부 예측 서비스.
귀엽고 잘생겼어요.
아이돌 상이라서 우와 행복이 느껴지고
단순한 머리는 약할 것 같다.
똑 부러지는 모습을 본 적이 없어가지고 뭐 요리도 엄청 잘하고 동생이니까 뭐 부려먹기도 쉽고 다 시키고 저는 편안하게 좀 하고 있습니다.
Today's matchup. Creator. Classic. Dark. Bunny. Round of 8. Group B.
Africa TV Freak Up Studio Live 2023 GSL Season 3.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are in the twilight now of the round of 8. Just 2 games left, 1 spot remaining, 3 players still fighting for the privilege to move on to the next step. We're going to have Creator versus Bunny first. And of course, Classic is waiting in that final match to see who will survive in this series.
Yeah, so Bunny's got 2 of the best Protoss players in the world to fight through if he wants to stay alive and make it into the round of 4. Creator and Classic, I'm wondering if they have similar styles of, I mean, this is maybe going a little bit too big picture, but I'm wondering how their styles of PvT are going to match up. Should Bunny be able to advance against Creator while Classic watches and then face Classic, who's so smart at planning a series, but we'll see if we get there. As Creator, I gotta say, he did lose against Classic, but he looked incredible. He advanced in first place of Group A as well, a group with Maru and Scarlet and Solar, which was tremendous. His form looks so good. His mental state seems better than ever. I think we're in for a treat here in terms of a PvT. Creator or Bunny, one of these players is going to be advancing to face Classic. Let's go into game 1 on Oceanborn.
Club NV Creator. Mystery Gaming Bunny.
Bunny.
I like that flex pose he's got.
Yeah. So yeah, let's maybe we'll get 2 TDPs best of 3. So I would like to unpack that matchup a little bit more.
Yeah, I always love watching PvT. It's one of my personal favorite matchups to watch and to play. I feel like there's a lot that Protoss can do, especially around my level. As you get up to the higher and higher levels, it becomes a lot more tight. But we'll see what Creator has planned. As This is kind of one of the tough groups to prepare for if you're either Creator or Classic, because you really need to prepare for all 3 races. For Bunny, he can look at this group and be like, well, as long as I can beat Protoss, I can advance no matter what. Maybe I don't beat Dark, maybe I do, but as long as I can beat Creator and Classic, I can advance. So in terms of preparation coming into the round of 8, Bunny, he could have made the decision to just completely zero in on TVP as a matchup, whereas Creator and Classic have to kind of spread themselves a little bit more thin and really prepare for everything.
It's a funny thing, right? Like sometimes you'll have a group where just the way everything lays out, it's like, oh yeah, you only have to practice 1 matchup. Or maybe you only have to be a master at 1 matchup to advance.
Yeah, even back in my pro gaming days, I would often look at some groups and tournaments and just be like, well, I'm not going to practice PvZ at all. It doesn't matter as long as I'm able to play PvT very well.
Oh, that's
I can
really
advance.
interesting,
It's just,
yeah.
Hey, you just got to play your odds and just lean into whatever your confidence is going to be. So I wonder if that means that Bunny, I mean, it's possible that he prepared equally for both Protoss and Zerg coming into this one and he doesn't have too many special builds cooked, but I am curious as these best of 3s develop if we're going to see some really unique builds coming out from him, because Terran really, it feels like, especially with a new Cyclone, has really so many options, especially in the early game in terms of how they want to approach this matchup. It can be so fun and dynamic to watch.
Look at this Reaper, just basically avoiding any contact here with this Adept.
Yeah, you're amused and I'm getting annoyed.
I know, you're already getting mad. This is wrong.
Oh, actually, Creator's going to catch it.
A little bit of Protoss justice in the world.
Yeah, let's go. There's karma. It exists.
It's real. It's metaphysical.
This is what you get for trying to style on the Protoss by abusing the extra Reaper range around the Nexus.
So the Stargate is warping in.
A Stargate opening here for Creator.
Yeah, it's just going to be the bunker expand here for the Terran. We got to give it a little bit more time. Are we going to have another factory? Are we going to just go straight into a bunch of barracks? Will there be a Widow Mine drop? All that kind of stuff we want to look for.
Yeah, based on the building placement, I'm imagining it's going to be... Actually, do we continue Hellions? No, it's just 1.
Yeah, 1 Cyclone being produced.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what read to make on this one, but considering the factory is so far away, we're almost certainly not going to see reactored Hellions or reactored Cyclones in this one. And actually, you're kidding me. It's a fusion core.
Oh.
Okay, so...
I'm actually glad you spotted that. I would not even be looking for that.
Yeah. So Bunny did, in fact, prepare some really special builds for TVP, we are now realizing. All right. I guess Oceanborn is just the battlecruiser map for whatever reason. We saw Gubio must have some insane battlecruiser play against Cure and TVT, and
we have Phoenixes being pulled.
Yeah, but
I mean, Phoenixes are not great against battlecruisers.
No, I mean, their standing armor is so good.
Yeah,
I wonder if we're going to get this incredibly weird situation where Creator scouts this and like goes for Tempest to try and deal with the BCs.
Yeah, I want to see what this looks like exactly. Third base coming down.
Yeah,
usually when we see the battlecruiser, we see it sent out immediately to kill stuff.
Right. But I feel like I rarely, if ever, see it used in TVP of all matchups, but this is actually lining up pretty nicely here for Bunny because, you know, Phoenixes, as you said, they really aren't very good against the battlecruiser. We don't have, I think, any shield batteries because Creator is expecting to be able to rely on the Phoenix to deal with any kind of early pressure that comes in. And I think we might still just be on 1 gateway, in fact, because we have a Forge coming in and a Robo-Bay and a Robo. The only ground unit that might shoot up at this point is a Sentry.
Yeah.
And so this could actually be disastrous for Creator.
So it's also possible the Terran sends out a push now, and then you warp in the battlecruiser over the push.
Well, that might be what it is. And we do, in fact, we have confirmation that it is 3 gateways here for Creator, so we should be able to warp in some Stalkers.
But, you know, we're in a point in the game where the Protoss is really brittle.
Yes. The Colossus only just now beginning.
Okay, so he warps it in the main.
All right. I'm not really sure what to expect with this one, as Bunny is gunning to start pressuring at the third base while this BC gets damage done in the main. Siege Tank will establish itself just in range of that Nexus. Bunkers will be thrown down.
Now, the battlecruiser is just parked out of range here of the main.
More Stalkers getting warped in here for Creator. There is only one Siege Tank with this push. The second one is being rallied across the map. Actually, Creator with a battery overcharge trying to find some damage there. Doesn't get too much done.
Yeah, the Zealot's gonna fall.
The trades are reasonable though. That battery overcharge really landed itself to... Oh, the Void Ray actually comes out. We missed this.
Yeah, so he kills that.
Oh, this is in fact going quite well for Creator now, I have to say. That Void Ray paired with the 3 Stalkers were able to easily dispatch that PC. I thought it was going to be more of a unit warped in with this army here at the front, but...
Is he going to ditch this? Or is he going to try to come in here to catch reinforcements? Is it going to be a full-on counterattack? I believe I saw the Nexus being made, or like it looked like he had started a Nexus over there.
Yeah, I think Creator's going to sack this base and potentially go for the counterattack.
So keep in mind that like there's no medevacs with this. It's not that easy for Terran to advance. Whereas, you know, the Protoss can probably come through here and destroy the natural, and I think recall. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yamato. Gets a lot of damage on that Colossus, and actually this is looking really good for Creator now. There's very little left at home to defend. Phoenix should be able to lift the Siege Tank, but Creator right now I think is zeroed in on microwing on the other side of the map. No recall in fact available here. That Siege Tank actually got a lot of damage done, but so many SCVs falling.
Well, I mean, there's still a little bit of Protoss left over here in this counterattack.
Oh, this BC.
Oh my gosh, this is Stalker versus a BC.
Supplies heavily in favor of Creator right now. Actually, there isn't much at all to deal with this.
He's going to get the next tank.
Creator might have done
he's
this.
done it.
There's another Void Ray in production in the main base. It has just now popped. Another Void Ray, I'm sure, is getting chrono boosted out. This BC very low on HP. And there's no reinforcements coming across the map for Bunny.
Yeah, so what he has is what you get.
Oh, the BC actually coming back to defend. Creator, I love the BC TPs in the Terran Basin. The Protoss recalls back out.
So 6 SCVs here for the 42 probes. So, I mean, this is, you know, a shattered economy.
Yeah, I don't think there is a world that Bunny wins this game from this position, especially with 3 Void Rays right now on the map.
Yeah, he's going to try to come out and push over here. This is another base he could probably just sack. Yeah, he's going to evacuate the 2 probes. Now, does he counterattack again, or does he just try to clean this up?
I think you try to catch it.
Yeah.
The BC not even repaired. Those 3 Void Rays, look at the standing army right now.
This is one time you might even want to just land a mule to repair that. So he's basically intercepting reinforcements.
Wow, that's the longest range Yamato I think I've ever seen. Well,
so he knows if he comes in and attacks again, he can so easily kill off the few remaining SCVs. Terran has to, you know, slow walk it back. Is he going to loop around?
He's going to try and catch the Cyclone to the BC.
Yeah. Oh!
That's going to be it, baby.
That's it.
Wow.
Wrap it up. GG. Creator takes game 1. That was a fun one.
The games have been so good today, actually.
I know. We're rolling all 7s here. Like, this is crazy. We've had so many fun games.
So many cool games. I mean, just thinking back to Dark's ZVTs, where he just absolutely was able to roll through Bunny earlier on in such impressive fashion, to the cannon rush that Creator busted out in the first series versus Classic, and then the wild base trading situations we had with Classic versus Dark, let alone the Tempest rush in game 1, and then a BC opening from Bunny here to start off the elimination match of Group B. Oh, it's like, this is like Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, basically, at the GSL.
Willy Wonka's got all sorts of crazy builds he's going to show us.
So much fun. And Creator now 1 map win away from sealing a Protoss in the top 4, but Bunny, I love the preparation that he came through with.
Yeah.
That was a very creative build. Creator just had the exact right answer. We'll see if Bunny busts out all the stops here with another wild build in game 2, if he's going to play more of a safe macro style of TVP coming forward.
Yeah, a lot of interesting ideas here from Bunny, but so far the results are not there. He has to basically play for survival now. 1 loss in the series and he's out. You call this map Hecate? Is that right? Is that you say it? Okay. I've been avoiding saying this map the entire time.
I'm going to be honest with you. When the map pool got announced, I just went to Google Translate and I typed it in. It's like, what language is this? And it's like, this is Greek. And I'm like, okay, how do I pronounce it?
Okay, that's how you did it. Yeah.
Or I think it might be Latin, Greek or Latin, one of those classical languages. But Yeah, Alcyone's the same way. I can't remember. One of them's like a Thalacian princess, and one of them is, I don't even know.
When you were saying the map names, I'm like, well, that's not how I pronounced it, but I'm sure he's right and I'm not. So
it's either that or I'm making the biggest fool of myself ever, which I'm also okay with
you're
at this point.
You're acting smart enough. You fooled us all right?
Yeah.
So finally, we're going to get this game started here. Again, Bunny down and almost out. Creator with a 1-0 lead as Classic awaits the winner of this series in that final match here in the last round, in the round of 8. One of these two players is on the brink of elimination. Let's see who it is as we move forward in Game 2.
Club NV Creator. Mystery Gaming Bunny.
Okay.
All right, going into this series, man, is Bunny going to do something crazy again? It did seem like a pretty different idea to go for the battlecruiser, right? We saw him recall over the main. Would it have been better to just go into the natural and ensure you get the kill on that?
I think it is if you have the complete picture, the same way that we did,
Yeah.
to go in with the main army and just completely focus in on that position. But Bunny could not have known that there was going to be a Void Array chrono boosted out with Stalkers to actually take care of the BC there, the main base. So in terms of a game of limited information, it actually makes a lot of sense to warp in the BC in the main base because of how many resources the Protoss player needs to commit in terms of Stalker count to prevent that from going from the main into the natural and getting more damage done. Because I feel like in most other situations, it probably comes very close to guaranteeing a kill on the third base. And in many situations as well, the BC probably survives.
Right.
So on paper, I like the opening from Bunny. It was a very creative and unique idea. It just did not quite pan out against the opening that Creator did. But we've been getting a lot of that so far in the GSL. I feel like maybe this is because it's Group B, so these players have had a day or two more than the Group A players to prepare for their series,
Could be.
But they have cooked up some really cool builds.
It's just funny even seeing battlecruisers in this matchup.
Yeah, it's great. We saw them in the TBT too.
Yeah, and it's weird because like 4 or 5 years ago, we had the introduction of battlecruisers in TVZ.
Mm-hmm.
Some players would make 1, some players would make 3, others would just keep making battlecruisers the whole game. And I thought, oh, that's cool, because there are just some matchups where you don't see certain units, and so it's crazy when it comes out. And now we've got it here in GSL.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do remember the battlecruiser meta in TBZ and all the Zergs being very upset about it. And me as a Protoss player just watching it, I always enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you don't have to deal with it, it's you can appreciate
watching someone else
silly.
struggle through it is certainly.
It was always a
fun.
spectacle. Every single time, it was always a spectacle.
So we've got really normal-looking openings here from the Protoss. Creator's just getting his second gateway up. We're probably going to have Blink. We'll see if more gateways are made or not.
Yeah, there is a third gateway.
Yeah.
No Robo just yet. So this isn't looking like it's going to be a Max Pax-esque style
Yeah,
of
I think
Blink
it's going to
opening.
be Blink 3 base. But we had Cyclones being made in pairs. Starport is staying quiet. Okay, he makes a Viking with that. So we're still wrapping our head around the Cyclone in the early game and like, can you push with it? And if so, by how much?
Huh. Yeah, I'm trying to think about this opening here for Bunny. And clearly it is lining up for a push, but the Viking is an interesting selection, in my opinion, with this one. Because I see this push, and I'm thinking of a medevac to potentially dodge Stalker shots by lifting up the Cyclones and providing some sustain to the few Marines that are on the ground. But, oh, that grenade actually... That grenade just confirmed the kill on the Stalker. That was some cool micro.
Yeah,
and actually, this one is also zoned out.
He nudged it into the range.
Oh, it's going to get recalled.
But no, it's not. Lies.
Lies. This push suddenly now has a lot of potential to get much done.
Well, here's the thing. The 2 gateways on the outside, I mean, you lose those and you can't even make anything. Blink is halfway out.
Yeah, these Cyclone pushes, oftentimes, if they start to snowball, they can really get a lot of damage done because...
That was great with the force field pushing the Cyclone out.
Those are some good trades there for Bunny. He's going to push up the ramp once more. That Sentry does not quite have enough energy for a force field. And at the very least, this is delaying the 3rd expansion here for Creator, as he doesn't have a complete picture on how much Bunny has committed. And as a result, now that he's been committing to all these gateways, I think he might actually start to try and get aggressive.
Now, I wonder, is this going to be a full-on counterpunch? Because, like, he's got the Warp Prism. Like, you could do a lot of damage. I don't think there's more than 1 tank at home for the Terran. I don't know if another one's being made right now. Okay, he is. But, you know, in a lot of these games, you blink and you kill the tank, and the entire position is fractured.
That's right. We'll see if Creator goes for it. Seems like he's certainly gunning for it. First shot comes in. He's going to 2-shot the Siege tank.
And he's going to go for the Tech Lab.
Yeah. All right, so this next Siege tank coming out is going to be the last one for a while. Oh, he's even going to get the Viking there, too, to provide some more survivability here on that Warp Prism. I love this for Creator. If I'm not mistaken, this is just 3-gate blink, so it's not quite as committed as it could possibly be, but after killing the first Siege tank and then sniping the Tech Lab, as you pointed out, suddenly Creator has a lot of room to work with. Now, he is getting boxed in a little bit here, but actually, no. It's the Cyclone that's getting boxed in as it gets blinked on, and even a warp in the main base.
Auto turrets are going to kill some workers, but it's fairly inconsequential compared to the damage that is piling on right now in Bunny's base. So many SCVs have been killed off, and I don't think this rush is going to be ending anytime soon. Now, well, if you kill the Warp Prism, it will.
No, he's in the natural expansion, I think. He got another Siege tank. So this damage is starting to really pile up, and let's not forget that this is not a full commitment for Creator. If I'm not mistaken, it is just those 3 gateways. And he also has the Templar Archives that just finished up back at home. There's a 3rd Nexus that is now beginning to produce probes. And over the past minute and a half or so, Creator has been able to whittle away all of the key units that Terran had. And oftentimes when we think of PBT as a matchup, we think about Protoss players as those that need to protect their key units, such as the Immortal and the Colossus and the Disruptor. But in this case, with the opening that Bunny went for, it's the Cyclones. It's the Siege tanks that you want to keep alive. And Creator was able to completely reset that key unit count. So any push that comes across the map from Bunny is going to have 1, maybe 2 Siege tanks at most. A lot of the Marines also got taken out very early. And with the Stalker count that Creator has outside of Bunny's base, he can kite this so well. He's even blinking forward, man. He's feeling so confident he gets the Siege tank.
I think he might be able to just overpower him here, especially without the tank. I mean, Stalkers are just better, especially when, you know, Marines don't have Stim and Medivacs. I mean, they really just don't stand any chance.
Oh, Creator is playing this so well right now.
Yeah.
Even with just 3 gateways, he's able to leverage so much pressure. 1 more Siege tank does pop here for Bunny. Creator, there is a Warp Prism. Cross map, he might go for 1 more warp in, and he might go for the killing blow on that Siege tank. More gateways now are even done, and I think Creator smells blood in the water.
Yeah, I don't know about setting this tank down here on the low ground, but Creator's being very cautious not to overextend. A lot of times when, you know, the adrenaline's really going, the games are this close, Creator tends to choke. The command center is going to be picked off, Steve.
Yeah, that CC's dead, and Creator also has enough Stalkers that if he wanted to, he could blink in and one-shot those Siege tanks, but what reason do you have to do that right now? The Terran has basically no army. You're on 3 bases, going up to 4 bases. You just sniped their 3rd command center. You have Templar tech out. You've got +1 ground weapons coming in. Charge is about to be completed. 3 more gateways are about to come online. Robotics Bay means Colossus will soon be entering the field. That is 4 high-energy Templar in a Warp Prism this early. And this is basically Bunny's only play, I think, is to move across the map with this army. An army that, with Interference Matrix, is designed to stop a Colossus build. But there's going to be so much Storm Tasteless.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that, you know, this is not a bad idea, but it's pretty clear that Creator should have the answers. Let's see how this big push comes through here. Storm already blanketing the infantry before the SCVs can even get in here in time to soak.
Guardian Shield gets popped. Creator biding his time, holding on the high ground. Bunny has to end the game right now if he wants to win this match. Storms come through, Templar get dropped. The Storms are massive, and the flank of the Zealots seals the deal. As Creator is going to 2-0 Bunny here in the elimination match of Group B.
GG.
And we will have a Protoss in the top 4 for the first time this year in the GSL.
The day finishes as it started with a PvP. Well, that was a great showing by Creator. And you know, rarely do you see Bunny get outclassed like that. Bunny had some really cool original builds, but Creator just kind of was able to get the ebb and flow of what Bunny was doing and find his own answers.
Yeah, Creator played that incredibly well. I mean, holding off against a build as niche as that BC warp in with a push at the third, being able to navigate through that as well as he did is impressive. And then there in game 2, just identifying that even though he's only committed to 3 gateways with Blink, he can still get so much damage done that he can win the game. Guys, when we get back from this break, we're going to go into the final match of Group B, Creator versus Classic. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you soon.
Cause when you're away, I'm cold right through my bones. I can tell which headlights are yours. They follow me until I'm begging you to walk right through the door. How do you sleep at night? Tell me what to do, cause you mess my head up. Now I feel what I feared was true. All these problems are just hand-me-downs. Trying to keep on living in this same old town. The night you say you'll make this easy now, it's just every day. Bass be louder.
우주급 텐션 최고의 토킹 핫식스 터킨.
똑같은 하루에서 답답함을 빼면 더 청량해질 거야. 제로처럼. 우리 없어도 되는 건 빼고 살자. 칠성사이다 제로.
하늘은 우리 향해 열려 있어. 그리고 내가
청량한 이 순간 칠성사이다로부터.
함께 서 있는 그 너는 푸른
칠성사이다.
우주급 텐션 최고의 토킹 핫식스 터킨.
나를 부르는 수많은 단어들.
페이커?
불사대마 데빌력.
하지만 나를 가장 기쁘게 하는 건
상혁이야.
팬들과 소통할 때 나는 살아있음을 느낀다.
혹시 나랑 1대1 가능? 피지컬은 나쁘지 않는데 운영이 좀 아쉽네.
선수들과 직접 소통할 수 있는 개인 방송과 구독자 Q&A까지. 아프리카 TV 팀 페이지
귀엽고 잘생겼어요.
아이돌 상이라서 우와 행복이 느껴지네요.
단순한 이제 머리는 약할 것 같다.
똑 부러지는 모습을 본 적이 없어가지고 뭐 요리도 엄청 잘하고 동생이니까 뭐 부려먹기도 쉽고 다 시키고 저는 편안하게 좀 하고 싶습니다.
Today's matchup. Creator. Classic. Dark. Bunny. Round of 8. Group B.
Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2023 GSL Season 3.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to close today out in Protoss Civil War. Creator versus Classic. Who's going to go on to the round of 4? By the way, we are going to be keeping that golden ratio. You know, each of the 3 races in the top 4. You love to see it. And look, I'm actually happy with either of these guys advancing. I've always got a soft spot for Creator because if I could bare my soul here for a second, I always competed in a lot of StarCraft tournaments when I was younger and won almost none of them, right? Mm-hmm. And so I know that feeling to be grinding, to be trying to get better and better and not quite making it. Classic's been on top of the world. He's back. He's in great form. Yeah, I mean, these are 2 guys you can absolutely cheer on in this tournament.
And they both look to be just in incredible shape right now with the builds they're bringing out. Creator, even in PvP against Classic earlier, going for a cannon rush in game number 3 shows so much more confidence in his play than I've seen from him before, that it makes me wonder what he's going to come out with in this series, and should he advance to the round of 4, how he's going to play in it. There's just so much hope for both these guys, and it's going to be a great series.
All right, guys, let's get into it. The final series of the round of 8. Let's go.
Club NV Creator. Twisted Minds Classic.
So I'm just going to make a quick PSA here, because I know that there's people that watch the VODs or even watch live, and they don't really pay attention during the intermission or the start of the show. You can buy tickets to come to the finals. It is 5 p.m. a week from today. So next Thursday, tickets go on sale at 5 p.m. tomorrow on Friday. So I would highly recommend, if you're planning on coming, buy a ticket immediately. wait, what does it say?
PvP video.
PvP.
The old DVD
oh
sign.
yeah, okay,
yeah.
I thought it was a DVD logo. I didn't get it at first. I like that sign. So yeah, guys, buy a ticket. The tickets are likely to sell out. They've sold out every other time we've done it. I don't see why this time would be any different. It's going to be in this studio as well. If you've come to many GSL finals, you know we've got a couple studios all over Seoul. It's going to be in the same OG one that we're in here now. That's at Samsung Station by Exit 1.
Classic and Creator are both going for proxy techs.
Oh yeah, look at these dirtbags. Both of these guys hiding.
Why did we want to put us in the top 4 again? Look at this scumbaggery that they're displaying here. I like the aggressive approach that both Classic and Creator were taking in their first series, and it doesn't surprise me that they're stepping it up here in game number 1 with proxies yet again. Now, what is this going to be? Will it be 3-gate Robo against 3-gate Robo, or
so when you have 2 people proxying each other, the game can get really weird. So it's proxy Stargate versus proxy Robo.
Okay. I wonder how this one's going to shape up. One of the things that often happens if you are the aggressor going for a proxy Robo is sometimes you don't focus enough on the defense back at home, and a really fast proxy Oracle in your main base can just completely shut you down. If there's no battery, if you only have 1 stalker instead of 2, enough probes can go down in a 1 base versus 1 base situation that it can straight up end the game. So have to keep a close eye on how Classic is going to navigate this game defensively against that Oracle, which he has not yet scouted, nor has Creator scouted the proxy Robo of his opponent. So both players playing with very limited information right now. All they really know is that it's 1 base versus 1 base.
Right. And one base can always be set up to eventually become a two base. This game, it's not.
It's a pretty smart setup here for Classic
Yeah,
as well.
I really like this. So he might end up shading in at an unexpected moment.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you get two adepts in their base, and that's all you needed to do. You get so many worker kills.
Right, Creator going for the shades. Oh, he actually does get in the base. That's going to be several workers going down.
Nice.
All right,
Nice.
Classic able to take down 2 at least. I imagine we should see 3 or 4 in total. Oh, the battery is going to be able to anchor this. But at the backside, look, the battery, how mirrored can you get?
Yeah.
I think Creator might be able to finesse 1 or 2 more probes with his shield battery. Of course, both the Oracle and the shield battery just in this kind of energy arms race.
Yeah. They both deplete. Things quiet down.
And now Creator is going to have to defend back at home. And I'm wondering how many gateway units he actually has. Oh, Warp Gate is not yet done. This is huge,
boy.
in fact. He only has 2 adepts. He cannot warp in sentries to hold this ramp. There's only 1 shield battery. Oh, I am suddenly very concerned for Creator's position. This might just be checkmate.
I mean, I don't know that you can recover from here. He's going to try to chrono this out. If he kills this pylon,
yeah, one of the gateways will immediately be unpowered. Now, there is a force field, and that's going to buy a little bit of time, so the gateway production will continue here for Creator. Able to avoid disaster as Classic did not push up the ramp just yet. Now he's going for it, though.
Yeah, that force field's not tight.
Immortal about to pop here for Creator, so we can start to fight back. One of these gateways will get unpowered. Meanwhile, the second Immortal coming in here for Classic.
Yeah, we've got the Adepts here on the outside. They're going to shade back in. If he can get this pylon, no more gateway production. That's it.
And not even the battery is powered anymore. The only production for Creator is this Robo and the Proxy Stargate across the map. So Classic is going to push up this ramp. He should be able to focus down that Immortal and barely survives. Workers getting pulled.
I think he's going to get it. There it is. That should be game. Game
Yeah.
1 is going to go to Classic. He's going to surround the Robo just as the Immortal's going to pop out. That's going to be killed off immediately as well.
Oh
There it
man,
is.
one more Chrono Boost on Warp Gate there for Creator might have been able to lead to a hole, but instead Classic with this very rapid push across the map that did not get scattered by Creator until it was basically knocking on his door. Is going to lead to a Classic victory here in map 1.
All right, GG, that's it. Classic takes game 1.
Explosive.
In a down and dirty PvP.
Explosive start to that series. I do think that if Warp Gate was finished in time there for Creator, which again, it's hard to get it done that fast when you're going for a more gas-intensive build with a Proxy Stargate. Of course, you're going to be chrono boosting out that Oracle as well. But if he was able to warp in, say, a Sentry and a Stalker and buy a little bit of time there for that first Immortal to get out, then maybe there is a world where Creator can hold that push. But instead, Classic, yeah, the build order advantage there. The shield battery was just in time, able to take map number 1, and now is 1 map win away from going to the semifinals.
Kind of a funny one. I mean, whenever you have 2 proxies, okay, now see, this is what we talked about at the start of the show. Now, Creator is the most emotional player, and you could see it's kicking in.
Yeah, he's been calm and collected up until this point, but for a player that's been in GSL for really almost the entirety of its existence here in Korea, and as you said, never really be able to make it to a championship, it's something that a lot of us can relate to. If we ever had aspirations of competing as a pro gamer and eventually winning a title, even a small one at a minor tournament, Creator is here again in the final GSL of the year. He's been able to work his way through a plethora of very difficult opponents. And now he is basically looking down the barrel of the gun, and that he is 1 map away from elimination. And he is in a must-win spot. He has to win both map 2 and map 3 if he wants to go to the round 4 and keep that dream of winning a championship alive. And we have seen in the past, once Creator starts to really feel that stress and that anxiety build up on stage and starts to get frustrated with the situation, he can crumble. And
he always crumbles, it seems.
It does seem that way.
And look, you know, a lot of players are emotional, right? I used to, like, every tournament that I would lose, I would cry when I was younger. I was like, it was just so stressful, right? But you have to learn how to overcome that, how to deal with it, how to, like, I'll use Scarlett as an example. She's always relaxed in a tournament setting. if she loses, like she beats Morrow, okay, she's in a good mood, but then she gets limited, still in a good mood, unfazed. Where, for other players, you can get to a point where, I mean, it's almost like a curse coming into the studio, the negative experiences you have when you lose a match. And by the way, Creator's using his break time right now, which is why we're on camera. But I hope he can get his head back in the game.
Yeah. It's a smart use of the break time right now.
Sure,
He recognizes the severity of the situation. He has to win these next 2 maps. He's probably very frustrated with the way that first game went. It was not a favorable build setup for him, and that's kind of the way that PvP can go sometimes.
Also, I think had he had just one more pylon below the 2 gateways, I think he might have actually gotten out enough. Maybe not.
I think it really comes back to just not having Warp Gate in time, because Classic's Immortal Push actually hit so quick. It's a little bit faster than the typical kind of cheese you're going to face on the ladder, and as a result, Creator just did not have any time to get that defensive robo set up at home, and things fell apart from there. And PvP, in terms of matchups, in my opinion, for Protoss, just speaking from my experience as a player, it can be the most frustrating matchup, PvP.
Some mirror matchups, I mean, this is a thing that can happen. I mean, I think StarCraft 1, the mirror matchups are actually even a little bit worse in some of the problems that you get stuck in. Like ZVZ and StarCraft 1, very frustrating. You really can't get outside of Zergling and Mutalisk.
And even starting off that game, remember those 2 Adepts getting into the main base, that's not something that usually happens. So I'm sure Creator, it's not just the way that game ended, it's also the way that game started, where he made an uncharacteristic mistake. And
it was a tactic that then let the strategy win. The tactic was pulled up and killed some workers, and then here we are. Now, again, Creator, we can see him muttering to himself.
Yeah.
He is one of the players that talks to himself.
Sorry, excuse me.
No, you're fine.
I was going to say, not just when he's getting eliminated or in a tough situation, but also when he's winning sometimes.
But even when he's in line in the grocery store, he does it. All right, I get what you're saying, State. No, I mean, we're actually just going to start the game.
Club NV Creator.
He wants us so bad, man.
Twisted Minds Classic.
I get it, At the last GSL of the year, it's going to be 2024 before he can come back in the studio if he's eliminated here tonight.
Classic is going for a low ground expansion.
Yeah.
I am surprised by this. Again, globally, the only Protoss player that I see pull this off successfully against top-tier opponents in PvP is MaxPax. He's been doing it for a very long time. When he started, there were a lot of losses that he suffered as a result of it, but over the course of what feels like a couple of years, he's been getting better and better and better at defending this low ground expansion. If you can do it, it's, in my opinion, the best way to play PvP.
Yeah.
Because it really simplifies the game. More often than not, you can just look at it from the perspective of, if I just defend my side of the map, I can win this with the momentum for my early expansion, especially if they commit into trying to stop me. And Creator is going to try and be about as aggressive as he could possibly get, and I actually don't know if he got a scout on the natural expansion. Do you perhaps catch that?
No, I don't think he did, but I think it doesn't matter because, I mean, this is, you just get there, you go, oh, even better,
Right.
Okay, so he is going to scout him now, and this is a straight-up proxied gateway. Now, keep in mind, this is not a natural that has its own high ground. That's usually when we see fast expanse like this. So you don't have a whole lot to protect you. So the probe's going to see it, and you got to imagine Creator's going to be pretty pleased with this. Good hiding of the probe, by the way, from Classic. Just kind of creating some ambiguity about what's going on as the scout's going to come back down there and see the Nexus then.
Yeah, Stargate is the follow-up here for Classic. And usually Void Arrays plus Shield Batteries are going to be the linchpin in the defense here for the expanding Protoss player, but Classic, as of yet, has absolutely no idea that his pressure is underway, and it's not as if Creator is going to be waiting for just Warp Gate. He's actually building a Stalker the old-fashioned way, out of that proxy gateway very quickly, and so His pressure is going to hit a lot faster than I think Classic is expecting. And Classic, you even see that probe on the map. Is he going to find this? Okay, finally now he does.
He sees it. So now the cat's out of the bag. Creator knows, or Classic, excuse me, knows what's coming. Creator's going to have to try to make this rush work. We already have the first Void Ray out. More batteries are going to come down. Forge has started all the right steps here to stop this rush.
Yeah, Classic's going to be putting all these minerals into cannons and batteries to try and hold off here at the natural expansion. Well, a little bit of miss micro there by Creator. He might lose a Stalker as a result of that. In fact, he does.
And, you know, was it an overextension?
Yeah, man, Classic barely not overextending
Barely.
there.
Yeah, not losing any hull the hit points there.
And any damage he can get done like this on the Stalkers, they're going to be slow to regenerate those shields. So it'll be an easy target for this Void Ray.
There's a way that the Void Ray can glide and keep doing damage. And just like that. And you get a couple kills like that, and that's enough to take the wind out of the sails of the rush.
Yeah, but once this Stalker count gets really high here for Creator, that's the dangerous moment. Once you can 2-shot or 3-shot the Void Rays, but there's already a second Void Ray on the map. These cannons, they're almost done. No blink is underway. Second Void Ray charges up, gets another Stalker kill. I think that's the third Stalker that's gone down.
All right, he's going to focus down some more Stalkers here. And the question is, can Creator get that critical mass? We now have the third cannon finishing.
All right, that Void Ray extending a little bit. It does get sniped down, so that's a big win here for Creator, but is it going to be enough? With battery overcharge and 3 cannons on the low ground.
Another Void Ray has been started. But, you know, if you can't break through this position, eventually, you know, the economy is going to kick in on that second base because, you know, you'll be able to make probes out of 2 Nexuses at once. A shade into the main. I really like this.
Yeah, it's a very smart play. Classic has been cutting his probe production completely to try and focus all his minerals on defending this expansion. So disrupting the mining here and getting 3 workers, ironically, actually has Creator at an economic lead now for this moment.
How crazy is that?
The real situation right now, okay, Creator's expanding.
Yep.
I was going to say, we're at a point now in this game where I don't think Creator can bust down this door any longer. It's just not possible. And so Creator, he's doing the smart thing. He's transitioning out. Might even get another Void Ray here.
No!
Oh, so close. It's a painful loss. You can see Creator talking to himself, trying to work his way through this.
I think it was pretty genius when he sent the 2 Adepts in because you're right. Like, there is an actual worker lead right now for Creator. And he's still dancing outside the base here.
He wants to try and levy as much pressure as he can with the Stalkers that he has. Potentially try to feign pressure, and we have 2 more gateways coming in for Classic. I'm actually not sure if Warp Gate was completed. I assume that it was. Occasionally we will have players cut Warp Gate entirely just because the economy is so tight, trying to get Void Rays out and these cannons out, but you have to think that Warp Gate will be finished here, and yes, the Warp Gate is transforming in. And there's a very dangerous counter push that could be in the cards here for Classic. After this, I believe second Immortal pops, and he is warping into Sentry, which means he might have more minerals or gateways. If he moves across the map with a Warp Prism after that second Immortal, it could be deadly.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, this is also a bit of a gamble here. Creator is taking a gold mineral base with an Immortal out, sorry, 2 Immortals out. The juggling you could do with that Warp Prism and everything else could be huge.
Yeah, the Warp Prism has begun. And Blink Stalkers against Immortals and Void Rays do not trade very well, I have to say. It's a tough problem to solve with the unit set that Creator has right now, and this gold base, once Classic moves across the map, is only going to make things worse.
Now, let's not forget, we did see some clumsy control with the Warp Prism earlier from Classic. So that is one way that you can just stop any push from the Protoss.
Creator with his Hallucination Scout spots the extra 2 gateways. I think he's going to scout the natural expansion and know that this is a feigned third gas. Or at least I hope that he suspects it, because the push coming across the map from Creator, or from Classic, excuse me, is going to have so much firepower. 2 Immortals, 5 Sentries. There's a lot of force field here, and plus those Void Rays. When they're protected, they pack a lot of punch, but Blink is done here. Creator just doesn't have an angle to go for that Warp Prism.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried seeing Classic move out. His army was getting split in half there.
Yeah. More Stalkers getting warped in. Creator is also warping in. Shield batteries here, the natural expansion. A lot of the Sentry energy already being used by Classic.
Just going to let those force fields dissipate. The gold base is, you know, he's starting to get the fruits from the gold base.
Oh. Is he going to get the Warp Prism, man? That was scary. There's a window there where if Creator had vision, he could have sniped it.
All right, another big blink away. More sentries being made now.
Creator trying to micro back into the natural expansion. Blinks for it. Oh, you really wanted that Void Ray. Got all of the shields on 1 HP, basically. And Classic is actually going to pull off a transition.
Wild.
He doesn't think he can kill him. Charge now starts for Classic. Oh, actually, he cancels it and goes in a blink, I believe. So a little bit of indecision here.
You know, you got to check these gold bases. It's so common to sneak gold bases now.
Did he actually catch it when he moved his army towards the gold?
He did not
barely didn't glimpse it?
No, he did not see it.
Okay, he's going to see the probes. He won't see the Nexus. Oh, he doesn't even see the probes. He only sees the glimmer.
There?
Yeah, this is insane.
This is crazy. You've checked every base on the map except for that one.
How does he not know?
I can't believe this.
And these stalkers might actually catch this Phoenix if Creator's on top of his blinks, and indeed he is. So Creator able to keep Classic in the dark still. And Classic, with this transition, might think that he's actually ahead.
Yeah.
In an economic position, but in fact, Creator has been mining from that gold mineral base for really the past couple of minutes, and now is going up to a 4th expansion.
It's going to be a lot of Zealots coming in here with all those extra gold minerals.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and just like you said, yeah, I mean, the 4th base coming now. You know, one of the more painful ways to lose is when you just didn't have the right information. You think you're ahead when you're literally behind.
Those games stick with you.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. And the composition that Creator is going to be working with coming in here, as you said, he's going to have a plethora of Zealots warped in with all the minerals he's gathering. Think of the units that Classic was making that were so powerful. It was Immortals, it was Void Rays, it was Sentries. Those do not do particularly well against a swarm of Zealots coming in from multiple angles. So I'm liking the way this is starting to shape up now for Creator. And considering the way this game has started, it is frankly miraculous that he's been able to spin it back into a situation where he basically has a chance to win at all, and in fact might just be ahead.
So, you know, this game quiets down. We're really getting into that macro phase here of the PvP. Now, you know, with the gold base being taken here and Creator hasn't attacked out yet, maybe this game normalizes.
It might, but I think it's more likely that with the gold base on Creator's side starting to mine out pretty soon, he's going to look for a timing attack, especially there is a high Vespene Geyser at that gold base as well.
Right.
So even though Creator's on 4 gases, it basically feels like 5. And actually, big link forward there by Classic. He underestimated the force that Creator had on the low ground. Some Zealots do get caught. Actually, fantastic Warp Prism micro there by Creator, able to save them. And these armies, Tasteless, they're getting ready to clash again.
They're going to wrap around over here now. And I think you could see, right, that, you know, Creator going to try to force this.
Oh, this angle is so good for Creator. The Void Rays get sniped down. That Immortal has to work its way all the way back. Archon even coming in here on the flank. Classic, he does have more army supply right now, but is it going to be enough? This army is a pretty good engagement here for Classic. There's 3 Immortals fighting against mostly Stalkers.
You know, he's hanging on. He's going to move forward here. These Immortals, they're paying out hugely. The Stalkers don't have any places to blink. He gets the Warp Prism. Was there an Immortal inside of that? No. Both Immortals are still on the outside.
Yeah, Creator's army really shines when he has the front line of Zealots to support these Blink Stalkers. Otherwise, the Immortals for Classic can get so much done. Both these armies basically whittled down here, but Classic losing the Warp Prism, he has to retreat.
Yeah, I mean, Classic's fine. The whole lead that Creator built up to, it's pretty much equalized now. They both have the gold base. In fact, Creator's gold base is going to mine out earlier. And on the other hand, you know, here from Classic, I mean, he's completely stabilized. There's plenty of bases, by the way, on the map to expand to and try to take.
Yeah, that was about as good an engagement as you can possibly get there for Classic. There was a long period of time where he was fighting with Stalkers and Immortals against basically pure Stalkers, and Creator, he needed Zealots and Archons to really tank to be able to survive in that situation. Looking at the upgrades, +3 for Classic is basically timed out with +2 for Creator. So Creator is going to have a lack of upgrades for the foreseeable future here.
A lot of times when you see these mass Zealot Stalker armies, they're really intended to clobber the other player and kind of, you know, flatten their position, and then you kind of overrun them. But to see Classic survive and continue to tech into a more sophisticated army is pretty exciting.
Oh, Creator is trying a transition right now.
Yeah.
To Robo with a robotic spay. He's taken a lot of extra gases, and there's a reason that a lot of people don't do this in the current PvP meta in Korea, because the pure gateway man style that we're going to see out of Classic. Right now he has 25 Zealots to the 14 of Creator. That is only going to widen over the next couple of minutes, and as a result, Classic will max very quickly, and I don't think Creator is going to have enough time to get these key robotics units out to actually be able to hold on. And Classic, he's already starting to move out across the map. This next warp in will max him.
Yeah. Classic's going to keep trying to advance his position. In the bottom, there's 2 possible bases that could be pushed into. Blink in. Every time Creator gets close, he realizes he has to back off.
Disruptors nearly complete here for Creator. I feel like he almost has to sacrifice a base.
I think you're right.
To wait until he has 3 or 4 disruptors. You can see the Stalker splintering off. He's going for the Prism.
Okay, he kills the base. The disruptors are out. They're still kind of far away. I guess one's actually a little bit closer here.
Okay, he needs a big hit. Is he gonna get it? That's a massive one. About as good as he could possibly get there for Creator. Will it be enough though?
That was sick.
The Stalker's coming in on the flanking side. More Zealots warping in there for the front. Disruptor, kind of a weak connection there with just one Immortal, but Creator's been able to deal with the majority of this army. That shot was so massive, Tasteless.
It was pretty crazy. The Stalkers are going to come in here on the side. They're going to be dueling it out with these Immortals.
They should be able to actually get the Warp Prism after they clean up the Immortals too. And Classic is starting to overextend this one. The armies are equalizing. Oh, another huge hit. 4 more Stalkers go down. Creator somehow, with a miraculous Disruptor hit, just saved his position in this game.
That was crazy. We saw the army of Classic go all the way up through the bottom, get pulled in towards the natural, and ultimately destroyed.
I have seen this story play out hundreds of times in my ladder games and other Protoss players' games, where this gateway style clashes against the robotics-based style and is able to hit a timing like Classic goes for and just completely floors the RoboBay player. But Creator had some of the smartest positioning. I can't believe he's able to win that fight, and now he's levying all this pressure here on the gold base of Classic. Disruptors once again joining the fray, able to pick up a Zealot with that shot. Blink is on cooldown. More probes going down. Creator with a 60 supply lead. And I honestly cannot believe he's been able to wiggle out of this position. Tremendous game thus far, but Classic, he's fighting on.
Yeah, he's going to keep trying. Although I'm worried this might just be too much here. I think Creator is very close to closing this game out, especially with this next Disruptor shot. Whoa.
That shot was massive. Now the Warpins are absolutely favoring Classic here, so eventually he will have a better trade. There is a Dark Shrine in production here for the Red Protoss player, so Creator is going to have to be able to have defenses ready for it. This shot still connects with 3 Stalkers. I think Classic might have mismicroed that one a little bit there as the Zealot reinforcements come in, and suddenly that Disruptor shot allows so much more pressure to come in.
Look, there's something happening in the main for Creator. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I think it's a Zealot warp in.
Yeah.
DTs
DTs.
too. Creator, he does have 3 observers on the map. One of them is here with the army. In fact, 2 of them are. Maybe even 3. I think it might be up-doing this a little bit in such a chaotic situation.
Wait a minute. He can actually kill the Robo. Hold on a second.
I'm starting to think back to Classic versus Hero Game 3, man.
Yeah. I'm just like, wait a minute. Don't count this out just yet.
Creator is sustaining a lot of damage back at home.
And he's going to unpower this. The worker count right now is still higher for Creator, but that could change very quickly.
The more pressing issue is that there is no production really coming in. Okay, recall comes through. There should be an observer with this recall, and in fact there is.
Right over that.
But it's not a lot of Stalkers actually getting warped in. These
well, yeah,
DTs, they can fight.
DTs are, they can actually just pin these Stalkers. Oh, man.
Oh my God.
Oh, Creator.
This is an insane situation right now. All right, so the only mining base, the only full mining base for Classic is taking a lot of damage. Cannons are getting warped in here, both at the gold and this base, but there's so many DTs, they can just focus down the pylon or the battery here. He's gonna go for the pylon. That battery overcharge out of the equation.
Okay, so hold on. There were 40 workers. That number's dropping very quickly. More warp-ins come.
I think Creator needs to find a way to get a pylon back in his main base. He needs to power up his production.
By the way, these cannons that were made at the start of the game are like very, very handy in this base trade because it's not efficient to try to trade into it.
Creator has no production. Creator has no production back at home right now.
He's sitting on 800 minerals. If he can get a probe, he doesn't have many of them left, by the way, up there and make a pylon, that's one thing, but he needs to start that. Okay, he does do that.
Yes, he finally got a pylon up in the main base. These 4 Stalkers will be able to repel that 1 DT. If Creator can spend his full bank and join his forces here on the right side of the map and in the main, he has a chance. Disruptor coming for the connection, doesn't connect.
It's going to be hit from both sides here.
Oh, this is an insane situation. Classic 1 map win away from a ticket to the semifinals. Creator fighting for his Codes life.
Okay, he's gonna go for the disruptor and he gets the kill.
Oh, Creator only at 25 army supply. There's no minerals left in the bank. He has 11 probes. Classic somehow with DTs the same way that he was able to defeat Hero in the round of 16. He is defeating Creator in the round of 8. I can't believe it.
Yeah, you can see he's still trying, but it looks like mathematically it's just not there.
The army supply is doubled right now for Classic. I can't believe this.
I can't believe this. Creator is going to be really tilted by this. This looked like a game he had. Okay, there are still a few mineral patches left over there, so he can still mine, as are there at the Natural. A game that had ballooned out on both sides to, split map is shrank back down.
Recall coming in the Natural expansion. It's all the Stalkers, but the standing army for Classic is too great.
And now he's in control on the low ground.
Yeah, Creator has to retreat to the main base, and with a look
we
on
just
his
saw
face,
him. Yeah, he leaned back in the chair.
That's it.
He's out.
Classic pulls the rabbit out of the hat again in Codes.
He pulled many rabbits out of many hats.
Wow.
And so this is the death rattle here of Creator. There's no way to recover. What a crazy series.
I mean,
the only way this series could have been better is if we got a game 3, but GG, man.
I can't believe that Classic was able to come back here in game 2 against Creator in the same way he came back against Hero in the round of 16. It's just unbelievable. The position for Creator was so strong. He even had 3 observers out on the map, but the Warp Prism in the main base with Zealots and DTs, despite the fact that Creator had so many more probes, he had no production for such a duration that Classic was able to consolidate everything, and you could see Creator is devastated. He knew he had that game in the bag.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
Kudos to Classic. He's played some great games today. I'm very excited to see what he's going to do in the round of 4. And we get a Protoss in the round of 4, by the way. Very exciting. We're going to go to the interview now.
김도우 선수 인간 승리 너무 축하드립니다. 이번 연도 처음으로
Finally, we have a Protoss in the semifinals. Congratulations, he says thank you.
네. 정말 오랜만에 GSL 4강에 가게 되어가지고 너무 기쁘고.
So I made it to the semifinals for the first time in a while. I feel very happy.
힘들었던 경기. 정말 어려운 경기도 끝까지 포기하지 않고 대역전극을 만들면서
So that was a very tough series, but you didn't give up all the way to the very end. Not just the last game, but all the games. You were very tenacious. We didn't know who was going to win until the very end. Tell us about that. And what motivates you? Excuse me.
부담을 많이 가지고 했었는데 이번 시즌은 좀 제 실력을
Whenever I play in GSL, I always feel a lot of pressure.
마인드로 왔어요. 그러니까 좀 더
So this time I try to focus on enjoying the experience more and, just not worry so much about my pressure. And I did find if I kind of emptied my mind, it worked better. You emptied your mind, but you also produced all those Tempests and destroyed your opponent. Can you tell us about that? So I had to go to my military training a couple days ago, and I didn't really have a lot of time to Oh, I didn't have to have much to do while I was working, so I was just watching a lot of VODs.
잘 통해가지고 너무 네, 좋았어요.
그러면 와
So-
외주 다녀야 되겠는데요?
I started getting all these ideas from just watching other StarCraft games, and I thought, well, this idea works really well. And then the caster saying, wait, you went to the military training, you watched StarCraft VODs all day? And that's what you did? They're basically making fun of him.
자, 상대가 좀 테란이거든요. 어떠세요? 충분히 해볼 만한 싸움이라고 생각하세요?
So your opponent was...
이제 상대 선수도
Your
진짜
opponent's
뭐 할지
Gumiho. How do you feel about him?
모르가지고, 되게 재밌을 것 같아요 경기는.
When it comes to builds, it does seem like Gumiho has a really huge range of different styles of play. So it's going to be hard to predict how he's going to, how he'll play and how to prep for it.
오늘도 보면 저그전도 그렇고 플러투스전도 그렇고 정말 계속해서 새로운 빌드, 새로운 시도 여러 가지
That's right. He's a player who's known for being extremely creative.
우간 빌드 같은 경우에는 명상으로 만들어졌다 했는데 그 외에도
So maybe he'll have the upper hand.
플러투스 빌드조차도 그렇게 명상으로 만들어진 건가요?
아니요 보통은 이제 저 혼자 연습을 하면서 빌드를 많이 만들고요.
You said you learned a lot from the
이번에
VODs,
고병재 선수랑 할 때는 좀 더 연습을 많이 해야 될 것 같아요.
especially in
되게,
PvP.
상대도 준비를 많이 해올 것 같아가지고.
Are you going to prep for PvT just like you did for these PvP games? I think I need to do more than that.
찾아뵙도록 하겠습니다.
야, 진짜 그래 오늘.
I'm going to have to focus also on my execution, so I'm going to have to clean that up as well.
건강면 지켜냈으면 내가 올라가는 거 아니야? 막 그런 느낌 받았을 것 같은데 그 경기를 졌어요. 그때.
2세트는 무조건 이겼다고 생각했는데 이제 불멸자랑 전투를 하기
You had a
전에
really
갑자기 헤드셋이 내려가지고
crazy series against Dark.
네, 되게 외부 이슈. 네, 순간 PP를 걸까 말까 고민하다가 이제 그냥.
No, he's basically asking about facing Dark in the future. He says I need to make it through the semifinals first. I thought I was ahead of him in several of those games. I was almost overly excited during those games. I guess he said he also had some issue with his headset.
사실 그 경기 지고 좀 멘탈이 살짝 흔들리긴 했어요. 그래서.
I think I was a little bit too greedy when I tried to go to his base and finish the game.
지역 쪽에 분열기 대박 터지면서 그 병력이 막혔을 때 사실 김도우도 이 경기는 졌다 생각했을 것 같거든요. 어느 시점에 역전을 좀 예상했을
The last matchup against Creator.
사실 이제 분광기만
Creator got a lot of damage off of those disruptors. It looked like you were in hot water. We thought that the game had been flipped and Creator was going to win. Can you tell us about that?
사실 그냥 졌다라고 생각을 했는데 저번에 준호랑 할 때도 그렇고
I was caught off guard when I saw the disruptors.
역전할 때
I didn't know he had them at all.
좋은 유닛인 것 같아가지고 이번에도
When I had my match against Hero,
되게 잘 통했던 것 같아요.
야, 진짜.
I had an idea about DTs. And so in that moment I thought, oh, maybe there's an opportunity for me to win with DTs, so I made the Dark Shrine, and that saved my ass.
Verbatim.
Anything you want to say to the fans? I'm very grateful for everybody who's been supporting me and who's been there for me. And I'm very, very happy to be in the semifinals. I hope you guys watch and enjoy. And I'm going to show a better performance, so please keep supporting me.
Cool. Wow. All right. So Classic and Advance over Creator. We will have a Protoss in the top 4. And really, what a solid top 4 that we had. And what a great day of GSL. I think this is my favorite day of the entire year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is the best day. We had so many good games.
Every series had something special.
Yeah, look, not all series are made equally, and some, frankly, can be very forgettable. Today was amazing.
Yeah, I can't. I'm looking at every single one of these series, and the games that were played were so good time and time and time again. I feel like it was the most creative expression of builds, not just from one race, but from all players that we've seen in a long time.
So here's our semifinals. Gumiho versus Classic, then Dark versus Solar, and of course the grand finals is going to be played that night. So come early or come late, but no matter what you do, get a ticket. You have to get a ticket. You cannot get in without a ticket. Every finals, we have people stuck outside.
Yeah,
don't be stuck outside.
The tickets, they go on sale tomorrow at 5 p.m. KST, so try to get them on your phone as soon as you can.
And I would say they're going to sell out in literally minutes. So yeah, do get a ticket, guys.
The show, of course, also will be starting a little bit earlier.
That's
because
right.
we
start
have
at 5 p.m.
the semifinals and the finals to get through.
So,
and
it's
Gumiho
expected to be
versus
a long
Classic,
day.
Dark versus Solar. It's going to be such an entertaining day of
And
matches.
no matter how, no matter who gets in the finals, either a TVZ or a PVZ, and I think we can get behind either of those, man.
Absolutely.
We already went over all this ticket information, but it's here in case you're deaf.
Yeah, follow.
You can just look at
follow
that.
that
In
link.
that case, you can't hear
We
what
get
I'm
it.
saying, so haha, I'm also making fun of you.
We hire like an ASL, like an interpreter
That's
over
right.
here.
We need a little bubble at the corner of the screen with a sign language guy.
But yeah, get here as soon as you can. Make sure you buy those tickets as soon as you possibly can. I doubt you will be able to get them at the door. And yeah, same place as always. Same place we had the GSL this entire, well, not in the entire year, but this entire season. The Classic Studio by Samsung Station
The
outside
OG,
Exit 1.
I guess it's not truly the OG GSL studio. That was closed down. But this studio, you've probably seen almost all the GSLs in. The one that we're in here. Yeah, what a great day of games.
Yeah, that was so much fun, and I feel like I'm really happy with the top four that we have, too. Guaranteed a non-mirror final, going to be a TVZ or a PVZ. We're going to see either Gumiho or Classic in the finals, which is so much fun. Solar looks to be in the best form of his life.
And
Dark
he has not been in a Final Four in 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
It's a decade of trying over and over again at the same thing. Finally, he's gotten deeper.
And he also drew Dark, and let's not forget that Solar has the best ZBZ in the world right now. So we might have a real underdog story coming into the final day.
That's true. Classic back in action, looking like the best Protoss there is in Korea right now. And Gumiho, I mean, this guy has had such inspirational play. It's been so cool to see him.
Proxying battle cruisers and TBTs earlier on in this GSL.
There's also a world where Dark just wins, and we're like, oh, yeah, of course. Okay, yeah. He was the favorite after Maro, and Maro is gone, and he's still here. So
yeah, we were thinking it was either going to be Dark or Cure after Maro got eliminated, and Dark still has a chance to make that happen.
But if he doesn't, what a crazy GSL that will be.
Yeah, it really has been the season of upsets.
Yeah.
From the round of 16 with Maro getting knocked out first in Group A to the round of 8 with Cure getting knocked out first in Group A, I believe. It's just been a wild ride here.
They're just still talking over there, man. We've wrapped everything up.
Yeah.
This has been my last 12 years. It's just,
Wait.
We have more viewers than you guys over there, but we still don't get to close the show out in time.
Yeah, guys, reminder again, tickets go on sale 5 p.m. tomorrow, KST. Get them as soon as you can.
Yes.
And we are starting earlier.
We can close now, guys. Bye-bye. We'll see you in the finals.
Don't you wait, don't you freeze. Take my hand and run with me. Don't you wait, don't you freeze. Take my hand.